So we wanted to do a fun little session. Everybody feeling great? Everybody feeling great? Feeling really excited about the year ending. Thank God. Oh my God, the year's over. And wanted to just do a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful excitement, getting yourself ready for a new year, getting yourself prepared for how you're going to manifest really big and great things. I know I've had so much fun, as she says. Really, Joanna, have you had that much fun? This year, I have not had as much communication or the visions that I usually have with my teams because I've been focusing so much on healing. And so you're going to have cycles like that. So what we talk about most often than not in our healing of humanity is just paying attention to your own cycles, every aspect of life and aspects of life within evolution. The Elohim, the Lords of Light that offer me the light codes that I do are specifically guided and geared for humanity's new cycles, what we're moving into. So usually when I'm doing videos, I come on with a general message for the collective as to kind of things that we can start musing about and pondering about. And those aspects that were parts of our lives before should be regular culminations and regular harmony. You're always bringing things into harmony. You're always bringing things into greater heights of perspective, greater heights of knowing, greater heights of your emotional maturity. Every cycle you'll be able to expand who you are in your emotional maturity, in your spiritual maturity. And usually those of us that have had such long experiences with such challenge, our emotional maturity is needed, for the times that we're stepping into, especially when a lot of things fall apart. When a lot of collective things fall apart, they're going to be looking for new aspects of leadership like myself, because we can carry greater perspective of, what we're meant to step into. We can't create 3D versions of our lives anymore. We can't create 3D systems in 5 and 4D light. And so all that we're honoring ourselves in this new experience is how you can dream and weave yourself into these new dreams, taking in always an acceptance of what has been. And that is the hardest part, especially when you're in healing, because it's those deep traumas that I'll be a part of helping humanity. There'll be a lot of things that will be purged and brought up. The subconscious, as humanity culls and pulls forward the subconscious, the vibrational experiences from the lower subconscious that usually come forward in dreams, because most people don't do daily healing work. They don't do daily self-creation work. So usually a lot of things that need to be connected with come forward in dreams, because dreams are those places where your guides and your higher self say, well, if they're not listening to us, if they're not listening to us in the daily synchronicities that we're offering them, how about we give it to them in a dream? Because your higher self says, okay, they're ready to pull this forward and clear. And so in that, you're allowing yourself to kind of recreate brand new. And you're taking all that was into new experiences of now, and allowing yourself to create in these new experiences that you want to dream. As we're getting into higher and higher vibrational ascension light, we're going to be creating and manifesting at a much faster speed. This is what I've said in so many experiences of the past. It's going to be really important and pivotal. Everybody that is a private client of mine and our monthly Ascension classes, it's going to be so important if you so desire, and I'm giving this to you as a caveat, to really get used to doing your health sessions at night. Because we are going to continue to accelerate in a refined and more purified experience of God's source light, and there's going to be greater light codes. And in that, as we can all feel, we're coming up to a gateway this weekend. We can feel these refined codes really pulling up those vibrational stories from our childhood, from other timelines and lifetimes, because remember, everything is cyclical, and it all has to do with your now evolution as a soul. Every day is a now evolution as your soul. and why aspects of teachers and healers and leaders like myself, we're going to be more and more offering, your reality is to harmonize yourself as a soul. And so when you're doing your daily path work, when you're doing your healing work, when you're doing your self-design, self-construction work, really take into account who you've been, harmonizing all of the lessons that you're learning. Because remember, as we've said for so many years, even if you look at, say, a dream, because I also do dream interpretation in my healing sessions as well. If anybody brings up or has any dreams or traumas that they want to talk about on a regular basis, I also do dream interpretation. And so, say if you're taking an aspect of your dream and you want to just review it as a part of your healing, right? You're getting your journal sheets, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and emotional, whatever it is you're working on, and you have a dream that's really profound. You wake up and you're setting the intention to do your daily self path work, and you sit down and you write that dream. And as I've always said to my clients, usually it's not so much the vastness or the story of the dream, it's what is being pulled out through your subconscious is showing you that spirited aspect of you, the most important points of that dream. It might be a red object, it might be the place where the dream was held, it might be the people in the dream, or the faces that they were, or the masks that they were wearing. Anything that you can pull out that is usually the first thing that draws your attention in the dream, whether it's a feeling, an emotion, a color, a place, or a person, those are usually the most prominent aspects that need to be looked at, that need to be observed. And to observe it freely with no judgment, to observe it without condemnation about what you did in your dream. You should have did this, you should have that. Your dreams are ways for you to prepare yourself into higher mastery of yourself, returning to the higher self, so that when your situations unfold, sometimes your dreams are precognitive, so it gives you a chance to change your mind focus, to change what you're radiating, what you're vibrating at, so that you can choose a new dream. And so this is what reality is. When we become 5D, our dreams will be our reality, because we're harmonizing the sub, which is the lower consciousness, into the higher consciousness. So we are absolutely manifesting, our reality as we're dreaming it. So really the dreams are important, a part of our understanding who we are as conscious beings. Higher consciousness beings, we're manifesting our life through our dreams. We're dreaming life into reality. So it's good right now, the channeled message that they gave me for today is from Holy Spirit was really start to think about the 2024 year that you want to have, and how can you dream weave aspects of who you have been, how you're becoming ever evolved, ever harmonized in a new now moment, and what those dreams that you choose for yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, healing your sexual bodies, all the sexual traumas, that can be with any dogmatic experiences that span all of our multidimensional experiences. And what part can you play within the collective? Because remember, you're here as a part of the collective and Gaia. And if you're focusing on that Trinity always, when you're doing your path work, you then get to be a profound, dream weaver, because you're not leaving anything out. You're not leaving anything out from your co-creations. You want everything that you have been, the lessons that you've learned creates that new powerful sense of self now in your focus, your direction, and your intention of your reality, how you're creating your reality, how you're manifesting in new light and new life. And so all of those aspects of your becoming is how you're weaving your dreams. So all of those aspects about Ascension, the 3 E's, your exploration, expression, and experience, the 3 A's, your acknowledgement, acceptance, and allowance, and all of those aspects go into the reality creation, how you're dream weaving, you're creating new higher perspectives. What do you want to see for your 2024? How can I dream this into a new version of reality? The direction, intention, and focus. So all of those aspects of everything that we've been teaching, but now we're going to go up a level, because 2024 will be a higher vibrational resonance of light. It will be a more refined perspective of light. And so all of those experiences are now going to be harmonizing in a faster oscillation. And so that means what was 3D, all of the underground corruptions, they'll be coming up even further. They'll be coming up even faster. And there'll be greater shifts for, much greater shifts for new leadership, new perspectives for classes and teachings that aren't going to be so much school, but they'll be more free and open for a greater vast perspective of fluidity and not so much structured rules and confinement in that type of education. And that we've seen a great deal of growth in the education field. So it's really changing quite quickly. But each and every person within reality has the everybody has their own free will, to do what it is that you choose for your own dream weaving. We're bringing this forward because as we're entering into a new year, again, the light and the oscillation of how your cells are oscillating with greater light, you're releasing more densities through your own inner work, but you're also allowing yourself to keep in step of the higher pacing of the consciousness. And because as the collective starts radiating and start clearing the densities, as again, light begets light, consciousness begets consciousness. As the collective begins to continue to purge the densities, the collective oscillating energy becomes faster, which means we as a collective manifest much faster, manifest in a much greater potential. So this is where they were showing me that when you sit down and with intention and with purpose and with really great alignment, great alignment with the higher self, great alignment with your teams, great alignment with Source Creator. You and Source is the partnership, the co-creative partnership that allow anything, the impossible become possible. So that's where we wanted to just offer between this last month of the year, 2 months of the year, really get focused in your morning ascension work to really start culling out how can you start dream weaving aspects of your reality that really need to be shifted. Because as I said, we are going to be as a collective oscillating quicker and faster. You're going to be reverberating who you are as a constantly refined being. And in that constantly refined experience and co-creation, the collective also oscillates faster. So the manifestations are going to be a lot quicker. And so that means what's really, really exciting for us light workers, because it means that a lot of the systems that were held in subjugation are going to be purged much quicker. We're going to be seeing corruption being pulled. We're going to be seeing those really quick transactions of change from density to light. So all of those experiences are going to be a part of our recreation. And so just know that you're allowing yourself to dream weave yourself into new energy. But what's really important every day is to look at how you've learned through the process of what you've been through. My journey has been very, very, very tumultuous and strenuous, simply because I am going to be a leader. And I'm going to be making many great groundbreaking, which I've already have, great groundbreaking anchoring for Divine Feminine and the new experiences. My goodness. Many great groundbreaking experiences that we're moving through for these new anchorings to the grids of 5D, and it's going to move really fast. And so we have to be really really fast. What's with the energy today? It's like they're all so sad. My goodness, nothing better to do. And again, instead of healing yourself, no, you're going on chat lines and creating silliness. So anyways, those of us that have had the most tumultuous experiences of the past are going to allow yourself the benevolence of making it new. You get to write your new experiences. You get to write your next dream. And so what they wanted to put forward is what they wanted us to focus on. And we all know it because we've all been seeing it and sensing it, especially over the holidays. Be very compassionate about those that are choosing to stay in their systems of resistance to change, and just guide with encouragement, empowerment, and inspiration. But their biggest message was today for dream weaving yourself into higher purposeful relationships. And everybody that's been through Ascension has seen, known, and experienced very dramatic changes in who we are, what we exist within, and what exists within us, and how we've pulsated those higher vibrational experiences so that all of the people before us also get those activations of light and activations of higher purpose. And in doing so and in being so, we get to determine, is it really fulfilling for us to keep these people in our relationships? Is it really fulfilling for us to keep them in our environments? So you have to define and determine for yourself, which they said, to always return to what is purposeful for you. And really, again, with that reality creational equation, direction, intention, and focus around purposefulness. And it's going to be important, again, as we said earlier, because 4D, again, is going to be a more refined, purified experience for the light that you're carrying and the light that's within the collective. Because remember, light begets light. So the collective is gaining in more light. The collective is waking up every day, which means that what we emanate and what we radiate is going to be reverberating at a higher rate. So what they wanted me to remind, and we're going to be talking about this quite a bit, is because we've done so much clearing in 2023, it's been a very incredible year for pulling out and purging a lot of density and a lot of things that are completely unacceptable, where we're realigning what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. And in doing so, the collective now gets to refine and dream weave what is purposeful for who we choose to be in a higher vibrating experience. When we return and we know and we create that higher purposeful consciousness, which is an intention, when you're becoming more and more awake, you're becoming more purposeful about your intentions. You're becoming more purposeful about your body, more purposeful about your speech, more purposeful about what you're seeking, because that's just, you're becoming more refined. The inner part of you, that pillar of light that runs along your Merkaba. I'm explaining it in a very simple way, but those that are in my classes, that Merkaba and the pillar of light that you sit within is becoming more refined. At a 4D, you're going to be more and more harmonized. And if you're working on your pathwork daily, you will know absolutely that what you're manifesting is coming to fruition very quickly, because the inner harmony of you is becoming more harmonized with, again, the accelerating begets, inner, outer, as above, so below. So the more that you are going as above, the more that you're going to anchor it as below, and you'll see it without a lot quicker. Because again, light begets light, and the consciousness begets a consciousness. Everybody is now awakening and pulling those subconscious aspects up. So it's up to you to ensure that what are you purposefully going to dream weave into your reality. And that's what doing the daily pathwork is all about. It's the constant reflection and observation of who you have been, the choices that you have made. Those choices are directly related to core beliefs. And it's usually about the lack of self, or sense of self is not there, or parts of your sense of self that have to be redirected and redesigned, because you're now releasing those old beliefs and those old patterns and those old habits, because you're now becoming a more highly awake and aware being. In every phase of ascension, there are different multidimensional themes that our teams and our higher selves work on, because every single person is at a different phase of ascension. Your ascension direction, the purposefulness of your directional path, you might be going through a lot of emotional healing in one cycle, and one cycle could be an entire year. If you had not been pulling up those aspects that Spirit has been showing you need to be dealt with, need to be harmonized, need to be brought in. If you're not moving in the depths of honoring your emotional bodies, your emotional wounds, and really embracing that, then you might have a whole cycle where it's a lot of emotional healing, like this past year for me. It's just a lot. You can't get around it, because your emotional body is how you manifest. So you don't want to get to a higher, faster oscillating, experience of reality when your emotional body's all messed up. You want to be clearly refined and in your alignment and manifesting from that pillar of light that is aligning all of your chakras, all of your intentions, all of your solar plexus of your I am presence, of your creativity, and your grounding of your abundance. You know exactly what you are and who you are and what you're worthy of. You want to make sure that you're aligning in those manifestations. So that's why your teams know why you're going through what you're going through. The more that you tap into your daily pathwork every day, you get to pay, a little bit more attention to, okay, I understand why I'm getting that. I understand why I'm going through this. And again, those of you that are very masterful and meant to play a grand role as far as helping and guiding others, you're going to go through a lot. Spirit will put you through a lot of tests. Your higher self and your soul will put you through a lot of tests. And it's not for punishment, but it will be that, can you, how I've seen it in the past, and This is not going to be a statement that's going to appeal to a lot of people, but there is a grain of truth in it. And we're going to flip back around to the oneness of it all. So I'm going to say the statement first because it's needed to be said, because there is a grain of truth in it. And it allows you to understand the strength and the will that you all have, is that as we're moving through ascension, and those that are meant to lead and be leaders of the people, the benevolence of the people, we are aligning to a higher code of ethics, a higher code of responsibility. Those right there, your soul star, higher self, because you're manifesting in the harmonization of your allness, the culmination of your allness is also belonging to many other councils, many other federations, along within the multiverse. And those of you that have had a very difficult, challenging life and a path life, and you've constantly stayed devoted and committed to healing, stayed devoted and committed to getting up every time, even as hard as it might have been, or as much as that has been taken from you, how horribly you've ever been treated, or you feel alone. Doesn't matter what the path has been, you have a reason, and a very profound reason. So there will always be the equal opportunity for you to claim that light in every time that you got up. Even though most often than not, most people, unless they've been working with me for a very long time, didn't understand dark nights of the soul and why they went through and what they went through. But now that more and more people are awakening, there is processes for you to move in, just facing everything that you're manifesting, everything that you've brought before you, manifested before you through your vibration. You absolutely have power, wisdom, knowledge, and energy and mastery now to navigate in and around in all things, so that you're absolutely dream weaving your reality into existence. You're not going to suppress it, resist it, think it's not there, pretend it's not there. You're absolutely standing before it, say, I can do anything, because you have that confidence God is with you. You have that confidence that you have a higher self, you have teams, you have guides, you're in light ships every night doing your healing. And then you can take a higher commandmentship of your path. You can begin dream weaving your health into better state of purposefulness. This will be so important for this coming year. So anybody that wants to do a health session with me to understand and get your intentions ready, to really set out a soft and loving self-care experience for yourself at night, it will be really, really beneficial for you. And it will help you with those dark nights of the soul when you are going through your ascension cycle and you do have those darker aspects that are needing to be faced and looked at. Because again, remember, as we are oscillating quicker on the collective scale, if you will, those times that you're pulling out those darknesses will also be quicker. So, where it took you a month to go through one dark night of the soul emotional release, it might only take you a week now. So things are expediting because your body is now getting better at the refined light that you're now processing. Does that make sense? As we said before, ascension is a process. You are a multidimensional being. You're a multidimensional being. So as you accept, acknowledge, and move within these multidimensional experiences, you're now working within a multiverse that is multidimensional. You've accepted it, you're acknowledging it, you're harmonizing within it, because you're able to process and integrate that light. And it's very important that that's a Christed code, what I just said, because you're going to have those activations where, we do sounds and we do tones and we do light language, and that is a processing of multidimensional light. You might not integrate it fully because it's in your field, that you're incorporating it, you're absorbing it, you're pondering it, you're musing it, you do a picture about it, maybe you do a channeled little writing about it, you might write in your journal, you might go to bed with intention, I'm calling in the highest light healing based on any light codes that I've offered today and I've received today in the highest and the best. You do an affirmation and then the next morning you wake up different. You wake up different anyways, but you're consciously now the commander of it. So that's what we've said for all of our ascension offerings. You want to be the commandmentship of your life. You want to be the commandmentship of your new health. You want to be purposefully intending your life. So there's somebody in the live chat that will be working a lot on throat chakra. So there's a lot of throat chakra stuff going on. So the purposefulness of your relationships is really important, because so many of you have been and allowed yourself to remain with environments and people, whether it be work, whether it be jobs, whether it be environments that have not been of your best experience. And give yourself permission to, forgive and be okay with that, because we all have to go through those experiences where we've had many groups of people or experiences or family, or even where you live, that we know that it doesn't feel good for our body. We know that it was time for us to move, but we've stayed there because we felt obligated, or we felt that maybe we didn't have enough money to move, or we've put those excuses before us as limitations, but there's not. There is no limitation for you to move. And if Spirit has showed you that it's time to move on, and within the center of your being, your gut, if you will, within the center of your being that it's time to move on and let go. Your spirit guides and your teams will be showing you in every moment it's time to move on. And that will be another important focus for 2024. For you to dream, weave your flexibility, your vulnerability, your knowing just that you'll be taken care of, that you'll have whatever it needs before you to make those big decisions. Because they said that there's going to be a lot of shaking about of what has been stagnant and in resistance of change. And that means your relationships. So if there is constant relationships in your environment that are pulling on you, that are not of the highest benevolence of your light and what you need as a light person, and your teams have been showing you, you shouldn't have to live in disregard and debasement of energy. That shouldn't have to be a constant struggle for you. You shouldn't have to be fighting for your voice to be heard. You shouldn't have to be fighting for fairness. You shouldn't have to be fighting to be seen and heard as the natural essence that you are. Those are things that we're now letting go, that they said to me earlier. We've just allowed those normalities, and we've conformed such lower vibrational experiences because, again, we didn't have role models in our families that really set high standards for what is a really, high vibrational relation and a co-relationship with the earth, with with others. What is a very functional, honoring, respectful, high vibrational relationship look like? Because again, we don't have any role models. We're starting from scratch. So this is what Spirit and a lot of my Ascension teachings is we're breaking the 3D matrix boundaries, if you will, and we really have to push forward in our soul's growth. That's why we're here. We're here for exploration, experience, and expression. And those are the three most powerful experiences that you must return to every day, and that Spirit will support you, protect you in every way when you align with those 3 E's, because that is your birthright. And Spirit will give you every opportunity. Spirit will give you every door. Spirit will give you everything that you require to step beyond limitation, illness, or disease, or poverty, whatever it is that is your struggle or is that hurdle. Spirit will give you anything that you need when you align with those 3 E's, because that is showing yourself that you love yourself enough to step up and not silence. Your expression is your birthright. Your exploration is your birthright, and your experience is everything to your soul. Because as I said again, it is the only thing that we have as a life review when we pass over. Anytime that we go into a new dimensional experience, anytime that God, your teams, the Akashic Board, the Galactic Federations, any of the councils that look at you as a being on here on Earth, I'm saying this because I'm a part of those councils. Those of you that are awakening to your celestial, alien, Galactic Federation, interdimensional leadership, if you will, those of you that are very celestial and galactic, you're led to me, you're shifted to me because I carry a lot of codes. You will be working in those galactic councils and groups and so on. Every advancement of your soul and every spiral cycle for your soul, the vibration that you work within, and every navigation in and out of energy, every navigation in and out of challenge, every navigation in and out of connecting with true and pure love, every navigation of whatever is before you that you're manifesting from your reality vibration. Because remember, you emanate a vibration. Your reality emanates a vibration. And if you're not moving from dark, dense environmental energies, you're going to remain in that experience, and it affects your soul, it affects your memory, it affects your cells, it affects your potential. God can't open a door for you if you're not moving forward. God can't open a door for you to, a new relationship and a new light if you're hanging on to someone from the past. So everybody will be shaken. They were showing me that when it comes to the mandatory changes that your soul knows you need to make, because as part of your soul growth, is to know that you're absolutely liberated and free. We're going to see how we understand, relationships and loyalties and all of those things Because oftentimes, and we all know that, sometimes the ones that we thought were our family and blood and all that is not necessarily the ones we're meant to be with. Often they're not. They come with very deep and dark karmic, lessons and so on. And we're meant to learn from them and appreciate it and then move on. We're certainly not meant to continue the karmic cycle. Nobody wants to stay in karma forever. You're meant to move through karma. It's there for you to move through. It's there for you to acknowledge, accept, and allow, and say, wow, did I learn something physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and sexually? Sometimes many of what we're releasing right now is really a lot of sexual traumas, which will absolutely 100 affect your purposeful relationships. Because you get to define, now that you've done so much healing, for somebody like myself, I've been celibate for, close to 13, 14 years. And so for me, relationships will be very pivotal, and I'm redefining, what does a purposeful relationship mean for me, because I've been through so much hell. And how do I want to see that? How do I appreciate and value it? See the grace and the power that I've moved through, and how much it took for me to arise and become new. And then what does my purposeful relationships look like for me? So I get to then harmonize and accept and be really grateful for what I've moved through, how strong I am. Very few people would have moved through what I moved through, but then bring forward higher vibrational teachings so that we all get to anchor something really profound and new for 5D Earth. Because we don't have any role models in our collective right now that are truly, really benevolent directorships of their own self-design. And so what we teach is really the highest vibrational way to move about in navigating various types of energies, how to be masterful at various types of energies, how to know that you're constantly in harmonizing an evolutionary experience of your soul, and why the only thing that really matters when you pass on and when you die is the 3 E's. And why so many people will be understanding that their focus on money and superficiality, and what seems to look nice and what seems to be, whatever that brings them title and importance is all false. They're illusions. And again, why many of the secret underground cults and sects and all of those experiences that kept themselves in such suppressive, lower vibrational experiences, they're going to be pulled up as well, and learning how to operate within the universal laws and the higher vibrational laws so that they can also harmonize and work with whatever they've learned in magic, but do it in a benevolent way. Do it in a way that their souls are actually being nourished. Their souls are being purposefully connecting and co-creating in the new energies. And that is ultimately God's offering and plan. God is always very graceful, and God is always very merciful. But it's the ones that tend to be very arrogant and harmful, as you saw the comments at the beginning of this podcast. They just want to get on, and they just want to be seen and heard and force their way, force their energy into your space, force their energy into your life. And they don't care how much harm and damage they cause. So God will be again shaking those energies out, because you have your right to be in purposeful experiences. You have your right to be in experiences that nourish you and feed you and treat you with the utmost respect. And your communities are going to come together and support you and uplift you in that as well. Because I said, when you're working from those 3 E's, God will make sure that there will be those that will, no matter what, have your way and clear the way for you, because you've helped them and you've been a part of their healing and their clearing. So just know that all of those experiences are now harmonizing to a new experience of faster. Remember, we talked about the bandwidth of the dimension. The bandwidth of the dimension is changing every time we have like a portal gateway, like we do this weekend. Every time that bandwidth of light is bathed, that oscillation gets faster, because people are releasing really quickly now. Like I had a release this morning, and it was just like, the morning crying and purging. And then I get to sit and reflect, okay, what were those core wounds? And some of those were from other planets. But the core wound that was here, it was threaded with it all. That's why when you're healing something in this now moment, and you're connecting, what is that vibration that I'm healing? So ask yourself, what is it that I'm purging? So that you can then thread it to the other things and be open to how your team can show you your own Akashic record. So as a healer and a conduit, that's what I do when I do my healing sessions. They show me, and your Akashic record should only be used for healing and for manifesting your own gifts and skills. It shouldn't be used on anybody else. Nobody should be tapping into anybody's Akash unless they're a trained Akashic reader or healer. And there's some people that say they are trained in the Akash, and they're not. And so just be, again, discerning. The Akash is a very, very sacred tool. And your teams and your guides What the Pleiadians have shown me, the ninth dimensional Pleiadians, what they have shown me is that not everybody will have access to the Akash because of their abuses of energy, their abuses of the tools and the wisdoms that they've already been given. There are special beings that have been trained over lifetimes to use the Akash. There are beings of the higher dimensional realms that are there specifically to protect the Akash and timelines, because from other planets and from other timelines, the Akash has been abused, and there have been people tunneling in and out of timelines abusing energy and abusing people's astrology records and astrology time charts. And so there are the highest benevolent beings that now guard the Akash, and they have certain controls within timelines, and those that are here to assist humanity for evolution, so that they won't be messed with by those that, again, are just nefarious and don't care about universal laws or anybody within them. I never understand, like, one thing that it's just my own personal thing. One thing I never understand is people that intentionally seek to harm and hurt people. Like, for my past 15 years, there has been people trying to switch my destiny and ridiculous things like that. They don't understand. Anytime anybody does one thing like that, they bring so much karma into their own timeline. And there's nobody that can deal with that karma but them. The moment anybody chooses to read astrology charts on someone that's not before them, anybody that's using and abusing astrology charts, which has also been a part of my past, anyone that is abusing the Akashic records, saying that they're going to go to somebody for anybody else's Akashic energy and information, nobody has that right on the planet unless you're a trained healer, conduit, and a channel. Like Daniel Scranton, he's an approved channeler of the light systems of light, as I am. And so just know that, be very discerning. Anybody that says they're, and again, people can say whatever they say because they just want, they're not awake, they're not aligned. And again, we talked about the DNA. It's going to come out a lot more and more because we have to also be compassionate and not judge. There are those that say things and think that they are aligning with higher spirits. They're not. They're not. That's why we've been very, very specific on the process of ascension, the process of aligning with your higher self, the process of understanding the teams and the guides you work with are those that you align with. And if you have been doing nothing but abusing energy tools, you've been abusing people's privacy, you've been abusing the first two laws of the universal laws, is what we're aligning with for 5 dimension, 5D, and all of our grids. The councils you work with, the galactic councils you work with, the federations you work with, all the things that you will be evolving into, that you're going to be supporting a 5D intergalactic, galactic multiverse experience upon Earth. It's really huge. And why we have to kind of get this. And so, and it's no shade, because again, there's those that truly want to be a part of awakening, but they don't want to do the work. And that's okay. That, again, no judgment. So the vast array of consciousness that every single person has on our planet that you're going to come across. Just because you see a website or a YouTube that says they're an Akashic healer or whatever words they might put out, again, watch the videos before you ever buy into anybody guiding you on the Akash, because there are misaligned and misguiding readers that they want you in front of them so that they can fool and mess with your energy field, because you're giving them permission. And so just know that no reader should be giving information on anybody that is not the one before them. And the reader will tell, and if there's been this happen as well, there have been some very good readers that have been fooled, and the people before them will say they're who they are, but they're not. And the reader will just give them the information in an incorrect way. That's what Spirit's doing now. Spirit will always scramble the messages because, again, people are using and abusing energy. They're not aligned with their higher self. If you're not aligned with your higher self, you're not receiving proper information from what your role is to be a guide. So if you're not caring about your alignment, you're not going to give the person before you the benevolent information, and therefore you shouldn't be calling yourself a guide, and you shouldn't be taking money because you're misguiding those before you. And the Akash is something that is very, very, it is the sacred experience that you have with God, with creation. You and God birth yourself into every dimensional experience. Every life that you have, every realm that you have, every planet that you have, it's a sacred story with you and God. So that's why it's mind-boggling sometimes that people think they can switch destinies and all of these weird, corrupt, silly things that people that aren't knowledgeable about energy, they just simply abuse it. They abuse the energetic tools like astrology charts and readers and tarot cards, all of those things. So be very discerning. I give you as much information as I can so that you can make choices that feel good for you. You should always feel empowered and inspired and uplifted by those before you. And you should always be given information and gifts and tools and techniques that you can use to enhance your connection with spirit, your connection with your higher self, your commandmentship with your body, your commandmentship with your processes as you're moving in and about various levels of energy and consciousness. Because there's so many people that have not cared about the ascension process, and they have been giving out incorrect information. But those people have also called it in too. So if people are going to those types of readers, they're in that vibrational alignment to be given incorrect information. So you also have to know it's all going to serve, because everything before you is source creator and it's all perfect. But just as I know how very sacred, and as I said, I'm constantly taking a knee with the creation. Thank you, Holy Cluedo. Hi, hello, sweetheart. I see you, sweetie. Thank you for joining us today, sweetheart. I loved your email that you sent me. Thank you. She's been a beautiful client forever. She's been with me since KCOR days. Thank you, honey. I always love your energy in here. She's a beautiful star seed, a beautiful, beautiful artistic star seed. And so we're very happy to have you here, Clodo. And so it's really, really important that you understand the beautiful sacredness of your Akash. And those that are with you, thank you, Holy Sweetie, honey. When we're in these live sessions, you're giving your permission for any energy that's coming forward in the highest crested experience. So just know that. I don't ever offer what your teams close off. I never ever abuse the universal laws of energy. If something comes forward through the chakras or through the fields, I'll offer it forward as the highest benevolence and how to move through it and how to clear it. So that's my role as a conduit, as an empath, and as a crystal healer. And so that's just my role. There's like Scotty, when Scotty comes on, because we've connected soul, he's a part of my soul family, and so is Cleto. All of those experiences, and because they show me different things in the fields, those are part of the Akashic informations that are coming forward, because your teams are saying you're working on 2 timelines right now. So that's what that means, is that you've got some timelines you're going to be clearing. When you're going through a dark night of the soul here, it's not just your life here that you're clearing 2 or 3 other timelines with that one experience. Like with me this morning, my clearing that I had this morning was specific to galactic, celestial, and alien energy. And I really, I'm at a new place, a new land, some new land here, and it's very, very peaceful land. The land feels very, very still. I can't believe how silent the land is. And it's very, very peaceful, and it brought through these, beautiful clearings for me, because my team and I always know when a good, click that's going to pull something up for me to clear, because it's going to get ready for new activation. So always know that when you have those dark moments where you're purging and you're going to cry for the morning, you know that it's going to open you up to new light, because again, you're oscillating on a new experience because you've purged that density. And then accepting and acknowledging and allowing those energies just to move and process it in the most easy, graceful way, so that you're not going to harm and lash out at anybody. And that's everybody's responsibility, taking account for your ascension path, taking account for your learning, evolving through energy. As I said, 2024, the collective energy as a whole will be higher, and your soul body will be higher. So that means you're going to manifest faster, you're going to move through your darkness faster, and you're going to be more, as they said to me many months ago, you're going to see the correlation in everything. You're going to correlate what you're going through, just as I just offered my clearing. I was correlating many, many things from those timelines, celestial, galactic, and alien, because I miss them so very much. I miss my celestial family so very much, because I've gone through huge amounts of clearing my own earthly personal story. And that's what my video was about the other night. I had to accept and share my personal story, because that was the anchoring of a lot of the releases of being human, but very high celestial. And why this morning I had, that I cleared that earthly density. This morning I cleared the alien density because I miss my celestial family so very much. So you'll see the correlations in your own cyclical ascension experience. And that's when you get to become the dream weaver. You get to purposefully intend, these are the types of relationships I want. I'm having a greater relationship with my body. I'm having a greater relationship with source. I'm having a greater relationship with who I am as this multiverse being of experience. I'm getting when I'm releasing something. I'm getting when I'm calling something in. I'm getting that I am the universe in co-creational play. And the more that you're aware of this and the more that you're honoring this, you then get to say, okay, it's really time for me to leave this experience because Spirit has shown me, okay, it's time to move on. You can't be here anymore. It's just not good for you. These people are absolutely not respecting you, and it's the same story over and over. You need to move. And so honor when Spirit is showing you, when you absolutely know you have to continue moving, which is what I did. I just kept moving away, and I didn't have any engagement with any of these people besides their constant, stalking me online and making sure and coming into the chat rooms whenever they want just to annoy me and to, throw their energy around to, abuse respect boundaries and all those kind of things. So again, be discerning, and again, just mute them and, throw them off your chat, because you deserve to be respected. You deserve to hold your space, your energy, your body, your mind, your spirit in respect. Spirit does you. Spirit will give you anything, but Spirit's waiting for you to get in the elevator and push the button. You have to know that you're worthy of your best life. You have to know that you're worthy of the best nourishing relationships. You have to know that you're worthy of a relationship that is purposeful. So we wanted to leave you with their channel. We're not going to make this as long as we normally do. So here's their channeled message. And this is all about dream weaving your 4 or 5D, because we're in 4D, right? And so again, remember, the outer is oscillating a refined, purified light. We are not in the same light that we were last year. We're just not. And everybody that is moving through ascension, everybody can sense it. I absolutely can sense it. Things are moving. Like when I focus my light on a certain area, we can feel this being pulled up so quickly. Hello, beautiful starseed leader Carmen, you gorgeous, gorgeous goddess. So many beautiful goddesses online today. I feel so very honored, and I bow to you. I bow to all of you. Thank you so much. So I was just saying, Carmen, and you're such a great leader in this, about my video the other day was about accepting my earthly life experience. And Spirit really wanted me to own those very dark parts and wanted me to share it because Spirit knows that my story is influencing others that are starseeds to come forward, those that have been psychic, telepathic, sensitive, hybrid. A lot of the generations now, the teenagers, are all of these children, and they need those influencing stories to know that they do have gifts and skills. It's okay to deal with the ostracization, to deal with times and ways where you were used and abused because of your light. And we say that with knowingness because those that have used and abused us didn't know that it was your light that they were using you and abusing you. They just felt something different from you, and as Spirit has shown me, my energy is very addictive to those that don't understand how to get the energy. And so I get that, and I have to navigate my way around those that feel very addicted to me, to my energy, or obsessed, because they're activating their multidimensional bodies, but they've never been shown, taught, or told. So when you find that there's energies as we're accelerating in 4D to be addictive and obsessive with your energies or your channels or whatever it might be, that is, again, which we're going to talk about more in the future. Again, it's the DNA variance and the diversity that we talked about in our video the other day. Because the DNA variance has to do with the vast diversity of beings and entities and consciousness that is on the planet. And it's not to their fault. There's a lot of programs they've been held within, and their DNA just cannot get that level of compassion. The Christ consciousness, which many of the beings on the line here are, because I know you all, I know your souls. Christ consciousness is not something that everybody walks with. It has to be trained, and it has to be entrained into certain beings. So that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Why have I experienced what I've experienced is because many of the beings that I was held and walking with very karmically, and God chose that for me. God put every person before me because I was there to activate a code. I was there to activate, to help them activate Christ consciousness. And why they feel sometimes addicted to my energy. See these codes in the field right there? Those codes. And that helps activate the Christ consciousness that's held within the DNA, within the pillar of light, within the chakra systems. So I know why people behave the way they do, and they don't know how else to present it as opposed to being very forceful, aggressive, ignorant, because they're not coded in any ways that say, even though it's basic common sense to be human, there's certain rules that we abide by, but just know that. I'm saying that also too because they're showing me those consciousnesses are also multiverse. So you know that when you're dealing with those types of energies, and I'm just giving it to you, I'm not saying it as a judgment. They're only words that I have to say this, because many of you are healers and teachers and you're going to come across them because you're going to be stepping up to be leaders of 4-5D. When you come across those energies, they are from a parallel universe that is moving through the activations of Ascension. You'll know because it just feels really different in energy. You'll just know. And that's when, again, Spirit is showing you. You're healing those timelines. Again, you can be timeline jumping and not know it. I know I'm timeline jumping because I know my body, I know my teams, I know what I'm going, because I live a very secluded, isolated life with Spirit. I live 24/7 Spirit. So I know when I'm timeline jumping. I know when I've cleared a few timelines and I'm up on a different timeline. I'm working at a higher oscillating timeline. That's what a timeline is. It's consciousness and information. So the higher your consciousness is, the faster your bandwidth will oscillate. So the more clearing I do from a timeline before, a timeline before, a timeline before, today is a totally different timeline. And I've cleared those timelines. The people in those old timelines are being activated because I went back and cleared something and my Christ consciousness helped activate them, even though it was hard for me to be there and I got abused. But the benevolency of the whole entire program, which I know, clearing the throat, God had me go back and do those timelines because it was the only way that they could get activated in their soul's record, because there was nobody else around them carrying Christ consciousness. They might have a very horrible time because they have to clear all the karma they abused me with, but that Christ code that they were offered in me being there to offer unconditional support and teaching and healing, they have that code now. So now it's just a matter of them. It's in their field. They've activated it. So they're going to go through a lot of purging and a lot of dark nights of the soul because there's so much density for them to work through. But they can't do it unless they get those Christ consciousness codes. And I know many of you that are on the line right now, you're Christ consciousness activators. So that's what you'll be doing. And as I said to my private clients and my monthly Ascension classes, last class we talked about timeline jumping and how you know you're doing it when you're a Christ consciousness, and how to kind of navigate in and around it and feel what it feels like so that you're not feeling, which you will, it's just natural part of Ascension. As you're entering more deeper into 4D, you're going to know those timelines that were like, well, what the fuck just happened? You're going to absolutely feel yourself in a different thread, like it's a weaving, right? So that's just because you're Christ consciousness. That's your contract. If you're Christ consciousness, you're going to be doing some timeline jumping because you want to be a part of that activation for those pods, as I've called it pods before, the soul families you've come for as an activator contract for the galactic celestials and intergalactic being alien beings, because you're the one that's holding Christ consciousness. You're the one that's holding a percentage of activation within your DNA. That is the only activation they can get. Does that make sense? Yeah. So thank you. I just got it done. Apparently it's a trend. You get a different color like up front in the crown and then my chocolate color at the back. So yeah, it's a trend. I just told the hairdresser, okay, whatever you want. I haven't got to have my hair done in 2 years. So those of you that are Christ consciousness and your conduits and your empaths, you're activators. So just know that you're going to want that. You're going to want that. I love it when, sometimes I don't even care anymore. I said to my teams the other day, I said, I don't know. I said, what year am I working on? Because really the year, the time, and the dates and where you think you are is not really where you are consciously. That's going to be the really wild thing as we step into 5D. You know, I said to my teams, I said, give me an idea of what the fuck I'm working on, because I know if I go into a really dense universe that I've contracted with Mother, because Mother puts me as this like spiraling antidote within the multiverse so that I can activate certain pods, because they need that activation. There's no other way they can sense it or know it, or even, that's why they look at me like they don't even understand what the hell I'm talking about sometimes. But they're a part of the multiverse pod that I've agreed, Mother, Father, that I would help activate. And they're not fun. They're not fun at all. But as my video said the other night, I have to accept my life story. I have to accept the densities. I have to accept the discriminations. I have to accept how challenging it was to break the densities that I've broken just with my light, to accept those stories, to be in those stories. I was in those stories. And I don't say the victim of it. I say I was in those stories because my light was the only thing that broke up that corruption ring. And again, that's what Spirit will use you in those denser timelines, because your light is what breaks it. As I said earlier, I can focus on a specific thing within the collective. I can spend an hour in thought and I can work with Spirit the way I work with Spirit. And the next morning I will see something in the news or the collective about that being broken up. Because I know my work with God. It's not easy. So I have to have those videos that share those parts that are not, they're not fun to hear. Because there's crystal children, there's hybrid children, there's children being totally not heard, forgotten, not understanding their place with their gifts, not knowing how to direct their gifts, to intend their gifts, to focus their gifts so that they're creating a really great reality. So part of my grander experience in other future timelines is not only to clear the density of other denser timelines, but to also, as I see myself right now, my aspects of my higher self are also working in future timelines in different ways, inspiring and continuing the momentum of the 5D grids into 6D for what we're learning now. As you can see, when I talk about, it's all now, but I can see as a conduit in the interfacing that I have, how my work is so pivotal. And why we said earlier, when you're in this moment of purposefulness, when you're in alignment with who you are, when you're absolutely knowing what your ascension pathwork is, you can align with the purity of your direct, powerful intention, and you're then pushing it into your intentional, purposeful desires, dreams. No, I'm dreaming this into reality, Spirit. I'm now dreaming my reality into being. And in 4D and 5D, you're obviously going to see it a lot faster than we ever have. And those of you that are Christ consciousness know that part of your next year's experience, because I'm the forerunner, so I usually experience things 6 months to a year before others so that I can help teach them. So I can help them navigate what the hell you just experienced. And so that will be part of your 2024's experience. If you so desire, you're going to have probably one, whether you will like it or not, because you want to know how to navigate timeline and energy. And that's all timelines are. They're information and energy. Your consciousness, the wider in consciousness you are, the more aligned with your higher self, the more you're pressing up and out with your consciousness, the more you're calling in higher vibrational dream work, which means you're passionate of your chakras. Your chakras are in alignment and you're directing that passion. That's creating your reality through dreaming, because it's your dream is your everything within you. So the subconscious is now kind of moving into the now consciousness, because a lot of those dark energies are now cleansing. That's what the subconscious is. It's everything we've suppressed and repressed and depressed. And so part of my clearing this morning from my video earlier this week was the acceptance of the earthly lifetime experience, how lonely it's been here as the DNA experience that I walk within. Nobody explaining it to me, nobody offering any description or definition for my whole entire life. You know, it wasn't until I was 30 that I started putting things together, and I started putting the pieces together. And it's not only until the last 2 years where Spirit's really started to show me how profound my mission is and my contract is with the multiverse. But it as which will be part of my destiny, is, again, the multiversality that we're now going to be stepping into will be my next level of expansive work with everybody. Because it will be very evident everybody will be their multiverse version of themselves, the soul version, experience, exploration, and expression. Those are the 3 E's are everything to your soul. And everything else is superfluous. You'll have the superficial moments, and God wants you to have that. But you shouldn't be living in there. And if you are, that's a lot of sense of self and lack of direction, lack of your purposefulness that needs to be excavated. And that's okay. That's part of your destiny, to know who you are. The more aligned you are with your purposefulness, why you're here, what you get excited about, what you can dream into manifestation, what you can dream into your now reality, that's your constant realignment to the highest version of you. And the more integration, as we said, processing and integration of the light. Sometimes, again, when you get those light codes and when you're on these calls, there's codes going in your fields. There's offerings that are being offered to you through light language and through our offering of our chakras and our fields and the beings that I come with. And you're connecting on these calls. It's an automatic intention of the Christic light codes. Those are the bandwidth experiences that you get to step into. And as the heart of the collective is pulsating, releasing corruption, releasing disease, releasing poverty, all of those things that we are intending from our heart space, you get to step into that higher bandwidth of consciousness, and then you go from there. Again, it's always a jumping off point. It's never, ever going to be an end state. You will always be evolving as the universal soul. And again, get very excited about what you can ask your teams, your higher dimensional teams, your interdimensional teams, your galactic teams, because all of you are working with those collective councils to help prepare. As I said in my call the other night, you're helping prepare however many Earths, because remember, that's what timeline jumping looks like. And there's sometimes where I can see aspects of myself on another timeline. And how I see that is just through threads like this. See the little threads there? That's how I see timelines. That's how it's shown to me, how my higher self shows me, how God shows me. And when there's people on the line and there's something that needs to be brought forward because your spirit guides get you here because there's something that you need to clear or accept or acknowledge, or you need to remember, anything like that, I bring it up because that's your contract, and that's the contracts I have with spirit. So if there's anything that needs to be healed, cleared, brought up for the greater good, for the benevolence of the highest version of whatever is going on energetically, that's my agreement with Source. And so I have that. I mean, there's been times where I'll see somebody, met this lady one time when I was a fashion stylist. I met with her, and she had just had a passing of her best friend, and her friend passed away. And of course, because I speak with spirit and I'm also a medium, she came through to me and she wanted me to give her a message. And because I was in my work environment, I said, okay, I would, speaking with spirit telepathically. And she said, go find her, go get her. So she went out of the store, and I went into the mall, and I just went into the bathroom. It was actually a store that I had never worked at before, because I had been sent to another store on the mainland. So I went to travel for the day to go to this store to do fashion styling. And so it wasn't even my regular store that I worked at. And I was just there for like 2 days or something. And she went into the bathroom, and of course it was this huge mall, and I'd never worked there before, so I just went into the bathrooms thinking that, okay, well, maybe I missed her. I couldn't find her in the mall because the spirit guide said, you got to get her this message, you got to get her this message. And that's my promise. If spirit says get a message, then I give that. So I then go running through the mall to try and find this lady. And I was in the bathroom just washing my hands thinking, okay, well, if I don't see her on the way back to the store, then I'll just assume that spirit will get her the message some other way. And so as I'm washing my hands, here she comes out of the bathroom stall. And so I said to her, you were just talking to me in the store, and I wanted to give you a message. And I explained to her who I was and what I did. And I said, is it okay if I give you this message? And I said, I don't think your friend's going to let you go without me giving you this message anyways. And she said, oh my God. And she started crying. And it's what she wanted. Her friend wanted her to have that message. And usually when they pass over that quickly, she had been transitioning for a while, but usually when people pass over that quickly, there's really not that many messages, because they usually go through a 3-day transition where they have to reacclimatize as being spirit. And the spirit guides and the healing teams are working with that soul a lot so that they can transition, acclimatize easily. Usually that 3 days is very, very sacred, and people that transition, but she had been transitioning for a while because she had cancer. So her body and her spirit were preparing her for quite some time to transition. So she wanted me to get that message. But just to let you know that as mediums, sometimes when people pass away very quickly, some souls need a lot of healing and work to transition into spirit because they're holding on to a lot, and they're holding on to the physicality so much so. That's why detachment and moving with your daily ascension path is so important, and teaching others to do that as well, because it's allowing you to know that your spirit in all ways, your body is simply just a thing you put on in the morning like clothes, as I said earlier, to healing disease and healing discomfort and dysfunction. You get to now be the commander, and why I offer those healing sessions for you to learn and do at nighttime. The more that you're getting to do that at nighttime, you're learning more and more that your body is becoming more and more spirit. Therefore, you're changing the clothes of your body form. So you don't have to feel it as a solid that doesn't change, it only ages. And it's not. You actually can stop aging. You can actually reverse anything that has been in your body that needs to be reprogrammed, if you will. So that's what I offer those healing sessions at night for. So just that you know that your body is going to be a bigger part of your life in 2024, to be purposeful in the dream weaving of your health. And that's going to be really important, because you want to make sure that you're processing and integrating, keeping up with that light acceleration, because that will be what that will be. And so here's what they said as far as, the Holy Spirit said, purposeful connections will be your soul's pulsations, shifting from 3D as you continue to awaken, and hold acceptance for what you thought was usual or what you've accepted as acceptable in and how you've engaged with various aspects of your life and your reality. So how you engage with Gaia, how you engage with your collective, and how you engage in your interpersonal relationships. If you have an ongoing relationship with God, you're going to have a better and ongoing relationship with everybody that you co-create with, because God is all things. God is all aspects of, even as hard and challenging as some experiences are, and we have to move through those emotions. And that's why I've offered some of the videos that I have. They're out of character for me, but I'm an influence to help others to know that it's not easy when you're abused and you're used and taken advantage of so grossly and so negatively and discriminated on all levels, socially, politically. There's a lot, I mean, it was so much discrimination going on in my one life story, but God made it so that I can talk on any point of that discrimination and offer new legal ways that we can align with the universal laws of one, because that's eventually what 5D will be. We'll be rewriting all of our social laws. We'll be rewriting everything within our systems, judicial and policing, so that it's aligning with 5D. And so that's why I offered last night that leaders of the country should really be having appointments with people like myself and other Christic leaders, because it has to align with the earth we're moving into. So part of my story is that these corrupt communities that have been working in 3D for eons, but because the divine masculine has been so distorted and they haven't allowed themselves the acceptance and acknowledgement that they need healing, because their perspectives of divine feminine have been so distorted and imbalanced, their social roles for thousands and thousands of years have been distorted and warped through dogmatic brainwashing, all of the social things that we know that cause so much religious trauma, social trauma, emotional trauma, spiritual trauma, that the divine feminine has been erased for 2,000 years. And that's where a lot of the underground corruptions have come from. You know, the divine, this is what the world looks like without divine feminine, which is part of my life story, part of the earthly human story that I had to express. It's huge. The Adam-Eve project is the biggest core wound for humanity. And we're seeing the pivot point shift. Everybody has their own unique imprints as to what Adam and Eve mean to them and for them. That's why we're here. The experiment was the separation of who we are with Source, and that separation is in our co-creation purposefulness with divine feminine and divine masculine, because it's how we heal our chakras. Our Merkaba that allows us to travel multidimensionally, interdimensionally, is the divine feminine masculine energies within ourselves. So if we're not even knowing this, if we're not even connecting with this, if we're not even acknowledging this, if we're not even operating in a knowing of this, Your consciousness awareness, how you operate as a conscious being, is your conscious awareness say, yes, I have absolute divine feminine, divine masculine energy. I'm working with it every day. What am I in now? What am I in now? You're playing with that fact, and you're kind of harmonizing into higher versions of your consciousness. You're working with your chakras. You're understanding the process of ascension, how you're harmonizing and culminating and excavating those energies and experiences and making it something new, directing, intending, and focusing it something new. You're the alignment of your path. You're the alignment of your co-creation. That is how I pierce light through those corruptive timelines, the corruptive groups that have been working for thousands of years that had to be pierced through. They said to me, I said, well, why me? Kind of thing. I always ask that because I know how to navigate interdimensionally and dimensionally and within the densest energies so that I can offer and pierce Christed light and break up the corruptive webs. They're very, very thick webs of corruption, because the people that are in those mud messes, that's how it looks. It's just like a mess of mud. And why Spirit said today the most important teaching is discern right now, discern for 2024. What does it mean for you to have purposeful relationships? Because as we're refining to 5D, and this is just a natural process of ascension, so don't look at it as a fear experience, because we know there's so many people that have been stuck because they're resisting change. Those cycles of ascension and spiraling will continue to shake whatever is stagnant energy, because stagnant energy just continues to be stagnant energy until it's broken up with light. And that's what the underground corruptions are. They're run by corrupt experiences, bleeding corruption into communities, bleeding corruption into the homes, bleeding corruption into political, judicial, banking. I mean, it's everywhere. And so that's why we said part of your Christic purpose in your contract is to, yes, you are Christic light. And what we've said from last year, share your story. When you see something going on that's not okay, you're that Christic light that breaks up that density packet. So that's why you have to share your soul's experience. My life experience, and I haven't even gone to any of the really horrible experiences I remember, but I'm still that influence to say that you've got such great light, and you're allowing yourself to acknowledge it and pierce in as you're talking it and healing it. You're talking it out, you're healing it, you're transmuting it, you're making it something that is in the collective right now, and we're actually transmuting it as we're talking about it. Because we as a collective choose to no longer have corruption as a part of what we pay and buy into and have people in our families. So Spirit said that really discern and look into yourself. If you have a purposeful relationship within yourself, who are you? Your physical, mental, emotional experience. What does that mean for you? What does purposefulness mean to you? It's a highly packed word. Purposeful. I mean, it's a highly packed word. And they're also saying right now, because I know there's many of you like me on the line, when we say purposefulness, these are your teams and your guides, don't think of it as your mission because they want you to relax into feeding your soul. They want you to switch that mentality. And I know that I've spoken with many of you as private clients, especially when you're Christic, because you put so much of your energy out into serving the collective. One and two ways, because that statement goes to those that are just awakening in very dense experiences and know their home is toxic. That is the purposefulness that they know that they need to be the mission leader in their home and break up that toxicity, and they need to bring things to the forefront. And just as these corruptive experiences are coming forward, many of the people that will be sought and seen as community leaders are going to have to face their choices because it's going to span across our entire globe of all of the trafficking and things that have been going on. And there's very, very important people with a lot of money that have been responsible for it. And we've kind of turned a blind eye for a very long time. And again, it goes back to the Adam Eve project. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so what they were saying though, and for those of you, Carmen, because I know you're one, so these are your teams coming in as well, because I see Claudio and Carmen. Your guides are coming in to say, remember, turn it around and think of purposefulness, because you're going to go to a higher level. This is why they're saying this. Purposefulness as dimensional feeding. So because you are leaders and you're also teachers, Carmen, it's going to be really important in 4 and 5D is to really make sure you're being fed soulfully. That's what purposefulness means. So think for the next, because we're at the end of the year, right? So really, I came away, I'm somewhere where I've never been before. And I wanted to focus this week on accepting my 3D lives, clearing out the densities of my 3D lives, and really setting profound purposefulness for 2024. And a lot of that was just accepting the dysfunction and the toxicity of most relationships I've had. Because I now know that I was placed here as a code breaker. And that's what the Christ consciousness is. It breaks density. And I'm very proud. Again, it's really hard. Still have to go through, as I said to God, and I say to my teams, they tell me, they say, keep going, Joanna, because I talk with them, right? That's how I heal. I talk with them. I say, I don't understand why I had to do so many of these soul lessons. I don't understand why you had to put me in this experience over and over and over and over and over again. And I know now because they're showing me, and nobody needs to know that, but there's a multidimensional reason why you go through one experience over and over and over and over again. Sometimes it's because they're going to meet you in a different universe, in a different timeline where they had to have that activation. Nobody on this planet, nobody in 3D, except for the ones that are always in my classes, would ever say that. Because most people wouldn't say that, well, I'm going to meet you in the next universe and you're going to need this activation I'm giving to you now. So that's why I had to go through this experience again. When you've already been through that same dense experience again, you're giving that information. As I've said to my teams, I keep saying the same things about these Christic processes that are so important to the DNA, the multidimensional bodies. Am I being heard and I'm being listened? Is this getting through? And they're assuring me that all the work that I'm doing, again, there's infinite timelines and there's infinite aspects of universes that my codes are reaching. And so you as Christic code breakers, you as crystal children, you as Christic healers, you might feel frustrated. And that's why I said earlier, we're going to learn more into the year. They're not giving it to me yet. They're just showing me little glimpses of the DNA diversity and how it will help us have more compassion for what has occurred on Earth. And so that is from Orion, a lot of the Draconian wars, and reptilian wars. And so that is within the DNA. We wanted the most diverse experience here on Earth for hybridization, because it's how we become the highest expansive creative beings in the universe. So we truly have to celebrate our diversity. There's no other planet like ours. And we truly, truly, truly have to sit with that, embrace it, just observe, just reflect, forgive. I'm just learning the past 3 months, 4 months about this DNA project. And it's just like the Adam Eve project. They're just different projects of evolution of the species throughout the multiverse, because it's God's divine plan. So God lets me see peaks, right? I get peaks because I don't have, there's certain things, just like you, as you come as a client, there's certain things your teams won't show you and you might be interested in knowing it, but your teams close that down because it's not important for you right now. Right now, your focus is to heal your emotional body. So that's why God will give me peaks. I'll be involved in this because part of my excitement is genetics, because that's how I like to heal. I like to go to the genetics of it. That's the Christ consciousness. Jesus healed the fellow that was blind because he saw into the perfection of the genetic of the DNA strand that he chose to call as blind. He saw that as he changed the coding to be perfect in his Christhood, because there was nothing else holding him back from that code to be seen of sight. So that's Jesus. That's how Jesus healed. He saw perfection of the DNA. He saw the Christ. He saw the God in what he was healing. He basically breathed God's DNA perfection. That's how he healed. That's how magnificent Jesus is. That's what our learning to be Christic is. That's what I teach. Multidimensional allness of who you are as a soul. And how could you not fall in love with it? How could you not be purposeful in it? How could you not fall in love with yourself every day? And that's why I said earlier, it's been so frustrating for me to constantly say and bring these things up. It's my passion. I love doing this. but I feel like a lot of the times I'm falling on deaf ears and my channel hasn't been growing, you know, for whatever the reasons are. I know God will absolutely open things up because God's preparing me. So I get that, you know, but for sometimes as a teacher, I'm so much passionate about it, but then still there's no results. There's zero, nothing, because it's all been stolen and taken from by these underground corruption people. They don't want my stuff getting out there because it will allow pharmaceutical companies, some that have been very brazenly knowing that they have things that they could cure diseases with, but they're not, because they want to keep people sick. And there's a lot of things that we're going to come to terms with. And then you're going to have to do what I've done. As I said, put out because you're going to be one that might have been in a disease and you didn't have those medicines released to you. So you're going to have to go through a healing just like I did, because part of my soul's theme was to deal with corruption and really pierce those densities that are the most harmful for humanity, because they're harming so many billions of children and the soul of humanity and the soul of Gaia. So part of my theme was that there might be a listener that has their theme as a Christed person to transcend disease when they're meeting up with the corruption of a company that had kept them sick. But now they've rewritten their codes and they're now healed. But part of her theme and her journey might be to be an advocate for those that don't have money for healing, those that don't have money for medicines, but they can. So this is why you come to these channels, because you have far grander scope of what you're going to be engaged with and entangled with. And it's up to you to know that when you're working as a Christ, you're going to choose the timeline. As I said, your teams are going to want to detour you for a little while, just as they did me, because that's the only way those people could have got those codes. Some of them might go to jail, but they're going to jail and sitting and having those healing experiences even in jail. They got those codes because of the experience of that corruptive cell being brought up and broken up and bathed in light, so that everybody could look at their choices in a different way. Plus they have the light that was bathed on them in that 8-year process of me, you know, pulling it out and pulling it out and pulling it out and pulling it out. It's like a wound. You know, conduits are like wound healers. We pull up the cancerous cell from a collective dimension. That's the interfacing I have. And so Mother, Father, God send me into aspects of the multiverse where I timeline jump. Sometimes I don't know. I just wake up normally every day. I don't know I'm doing a timeline jump. But there'll be a density that I work with, and then I'll sit with it and I'll transmute it, and I will process light into it. And I work with God that way. And so it's just a way that I work with God. And every Christ person works in their theme of their soul's blueprint, because every one of you have a unique soul's blueprint. I know what my blueprint is. That's why we talk about what we talk about, so that the more in purposefulness, in partnership you are with God and your soul blueprint, it's ever changing, it's like a living document. The more that you work with your soul's blueprint, you're going to get really excited about how you sense you just came off a timeline that wasn't like the timeline that you're in right now. As I said, right now, I'm in a really light timeline because it feels really peaceful. The land feels so peaceful. And I had to move to release that stagnant energy, which is what they said. Being in purposeful connections, you're going to feel like you have to move. So if you're in an experience or environments that are not nourishing you, what is nourishing your multidimensional soul? You have to nourish that soul so that God can send you, and your teams and your higher self can again prepare you for when you're interacting and processing the light of a first contact. Because again, those beings standing before you are going to offer a multidimensional vibration that is not like anything we have here on Earth. Except when higher vibrational beings like myself come forward and we offer multidimensional high vibrational wisdoms and offerings. There's things that are being offered in your field multidimensionally that are high vibrational wisdoms that you can sit down later and unpack. I only have words are sometimes so slow because it's linear. It goes from the first word to the next word to the next word. It's very linear, but the multidimensional expressions that I'm moving through right now always offer multidimensional codes. But your soul is going to have to be nourished for you to keep expanding and contracting in the juice of creation, because that's God. That's the essence of God, is that juice. And so, as I said earlier, how I work with God is like a living, breathing experience for me. When I walk, I speak with God in the juice of God. That's how I am now manifesting. And as I said before, that's the evening health sessions. because you're becoming, you know more and more now. And if you don't, I'm telling you, every moment, every breath, every ounce here, and here is God juice. We can do so much in knowing this. You're affecting the multiverse in this God juice. And it's going to get more and more refined, and it's going to be oscillating your multi-vibrational experiences. But it's going to be, again, very, very important that you understand the process of ascension, which is what we teach on all of our videos. Knowing who you are, and what you exist within. Grounding, because the faster you oscillate, the easier it is to get scattered. Because as I just said, I expressed to you, my video the other day was part of my ascension process, and to show others how to process, how to speak, how to transmute, how to create stories of influence and change and positive exploration, the 3 E's, in an offering for the collective as God calls it to you. God will say, share your story, then you share your story, right? When God says share something, you share it, because it is affecting, it's going to activate, it's going to do something that they're planning, that they've already planned, that the codes are there, that something's going to happen that God will then fulfill. That's why when God asks you to do something, do it. Because it's like the domino. God says, share your story, Joanna, share it. If God says, speak on this, Joanna, speak it. And it's so too whoever is listening. Because the domino of your life, the things unfolding, that soul juice needs to be nourished. You can't nourish it if you're not giving some of that expressional experience into the collective. My one story, if the chances of me surviving what I survived were very, very futile and rare. If it was rare for me to survive what I did, my story has to be heard. How many thousands and millions, and let's hope not billions, have not survived? So that's why I'm honored to walk in the skin I walk in. And I have to bring forward my story. It helps transmute others that have been going through discrimination, ostracization, because again, people don't know what energy is. They're more and more becoming aware now, but so many people my age, younger and younger and younger, even there's many grandparents and elders that haven't processed any of their childhood wounding because they were sensitives and psychics and telepaths and all of their experiences. But it's more now from my generation, younger, there's going to be the juice of the healing. So that's why it's important to share your story. That sharing of that video was the human expression for me in my processing of ascension, my path. Because that process of ascension, say it's on this earth right here, or here, that earth, this one, and this one. If I didn't process and release those 3D stories of my 3D lifetime, the challenges I've had growing up in a personal family, in a collective family, and then in trying to release myself from a marriage and the corruption that went along with that, offering it as a divine feminine that's been erased and discriminated against and harassed for thousands of years. No new divine 5D goddess stories. Many of you are entering them right now into the grids. Many of you are entering them, your goddess story, your fairy stories, your role model for a 5D goddess that other girls and women can look up to. Divine feminine will return to her true divine feminine nature. That is nourishment. The nourishment is going to be very, very profound for 2024 because it will be the juice, the bedding of God consciousness that has to be prepared for the healing that is being purged from the subconscious collective underground. The underground is the subconscious of the collective. Those are the wounds that were suppressed. So again, we're still one, right? It's a micro-macro. So the nourishment, again, how is your soul being nourished? And so look at your relationships and reflect and observe very softly, very gently, but know that for 4D, again, because 4D is all the emotional healing. 4D, your 4D experience is your emotional healing of all of your 3 to 5D wounding of that 51%. 4D is the emotional bandwidth. 5D is when you've navigated all of those emotional wounds, and you've done so in the very best in your power, and you've returned to center as often as possible. You've returned to center for the 3 E's. Then you're moving into that 5D experience, because you show spirit that you're a master. You're going to get offered every new cycle. You're going to be offered your gifts, your skills, your talents, so that you can then open up and expand and contract into new juice, dimensional juice. And what is dimension again? It's information and consciousness. And what is consciousness? Consciousness is your awareness that you are the all. You are the all juice, which I said earlier. You're going to know that everything before you is juice. How are you going to work with it? And when I say juice, that's a multi-vibrational Christed statement. So go away later and think about and ponder what that means for you as purposeful. And these are really great tools for those of you that have been on the path for a while to step up into a higher 4D experience, 5D, and to know how to really discern, navigate, and really design with great purpose and with great honor the relationships that you want within yourself and God, the relationship you want within yourself and your multidimensional, intergalactic, interdimensional families, celestial families, galactic federation. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So that's just Commander Ashtar. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you. So they're just telling me they're coming to me from light ships above. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We're always with you. And they're saying they're celebrating that I'm in a new location. So they're very happy that I took this opportunity to travel into new experiences. And so they're just showing me. They're just showing me marshmallows. Because I was saying how soft this area feels. It's very marshmallowy. And so they're just teasing me and playing with me right now. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Holy Commander Ashtar. I just want to give a moment for Commander Ashtar. Please take a breath of gratitude. I thank you, Holy Spirit. Please take a gratitude breath for divine and holy Commander Ashtar that just continues to be committed and devoted to our planet as we're moving through so many earthly changes. And I want to present a beautiful word with galactic federations and all of the councils and all the beings in the many ways that we have allowed ourselves to ignore one another, and the importance of one another, and the roles that each and every one of us play for the holy collective becoming grander in our holiness. We've showed such disrespect and disregard to ourselves and to one another and those that come forward as grand teachers. And I personally just want to say to Commander Ashtar, there was some very tough days where there was some pauses from the federations in some of the treatment that had happened to me. And I prayed with Commander Ashtar for 3 days for them not to leave and to continue working with Earth. And I prayed for the promise of Earth to awaken into never ever allowing the Galactic Federation to leave our planet. They do so much for us in protection. They do so much for us into staving off war. They do so much for us in the healing process and preparing us all for first contact, preparing our Earth for so many profound grid experiences. And so Commander Ashtar, thank you, Holy Spirit. Just gratitude and appreciation for all of our celestial, intergalactic, and alien. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I'm so very grateful. They're just saying you're a beautiful, abundant light source for us here on Earth. They're saying we learn so much from you in your earthly lives. And we want you to be more compassionate towards one another. Because when you become 5D, you will understand that you become from all nations. And we are a federation of all nations. And humanity is learning how to be a unity and a federation of one. That you can have much diversity and still learn how to navigate in oneness. And learn how to work out great challenges in polarities. Thank you, Holy Spirit. 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 I miss my celestial family so much. But I'm with them, I know that. But just here on Earth, I miss them. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I love you. I rainbow you. I rainbow you. I'm rainbow you. Thank you, Holy Spirit. So that's what they said. Thank you, Holy Ashtar. Thank you. So to seek new experiences for peoples, lands, and what is your purpose within that? What does the meaning purposefulness mean for you? How can you design and outline your self-design of who you are, what you exist in, and what exists within you purposely? So what is purposefully going on for you? So if you ask that, is this purposeful? And then you get to say, no, that's not really my like, if you ask yourself, is this purposeful for me? If you get into a contention with someone, or someone just wants to get in contention with you, or just throw contention at you. So seek the purposefulness of it. It is providing you the purposefulness to remain grounded, to remain peaceful, to know that there is a diverse array of DNA, that many are in diverse arrays of activations of their DNA or their knowingness that they are source or not. There's much purposefulness in it. Again, that's a divine relationship. But then the important thing is to then choose how you can be nourished, because it's going to be, as they're showing me like a garden hose, and a garden hose being cut with scissors. That purposefulness will help you refine the energies that are being drained out of you, and going to things that are not doing anything purposeful. There are those, and they said it's directly related with my timeline, and many of you that are healers, that you have to absolutely choose to walk away from situations and people and experiences that are doing nothing to bring balance to you. Because that's the purposefulness of you saying, I cannot have these energies siphon. That's the hose. Those energies being siphoned. And again, working with your multidimensional artist, teaching children too as well, to understand releasing attachments and cords with experiences and environments that they're moving away from, so that they can make those clear energetic cuts, physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually. Really important for sexual clearing to be done, especially for long-term relationships that are no longer purposeful. You have to think as your soul, like they showed me earlier. And I don't mean this in any disregard, because we're moving into this experience. Your soul and your energy like a business. And I say a business as that you're a representation of the heavens. Is the business that you're promoting to give your energy away to those that don't care, will never care, and just keep taking from you and finding any way they can steal from you? Is that purposeful? It's not allowing them to learn how to go and get it themselves, and why I kept moving, right? And they kept finding me and trying to weed their way in. When I said, no, you have to learn and go seek God within yourself. So these times that are coming up will be more and more shaking about, so that everybody has an opportunity to go within and seek God. Until people go within and seek that godliness within themselves, know that they have a higher self, know that they have inner guidance. Without that seeking of God within themselves, and God or source creator, and again, it's nothing to do with religion. That God essence is who you are in partnership with your soul. That's what we mean by going in and seeking God. It's your soul. Your soul wants to be a partner with you. Your soul wants to clear out these 3 to 5D 51% of karmas, instead of just contributing to your karma by doing corrupt things. So go within and seek the soul's source connection with you. That's your godliness. God is your higher self. God is that higher self saying, you are a soul. You're going to keep harmonizing as greater aspects of your soul. You're going to call in those soul fragments. You're going to be operating in a higher percentage of refinement in your chakras. You're going to be operating in a higher refinement of your divine masculine and divine feminine energies being balanced, because you know when you're in a divine masculine energy, you know when you're in divine feminine energy, you know that you're looking with observation and reflection in a neutral way when you're seeing things unfold in the collective, so that the Adam Eve project is being now brought up to a 5D experience, and you're anchoring it with 5D co-creative new Adam, new Eve energies. Essentially, that's what we are doing. I'm just breaking it down for you because I see the higher perspective and I see the bigger perspective. I'm just breaking it down to you in modern 3D language. When you're working on your divine masculine and feminine energies, you are rewriting the Adam Eve project for 5D Earth. That is balanced, equal divine feminine, masculine. Divine feminine's voices will be heard. We are going to be the leaders, nourishing, so that the divine masculine generations that have not been healed over thousands of years need to heal. And we are the ones returning them and showing them, empowering, encouraging, inspiring them back to God, back to source. But they have to look with source within themselves. It cannot be found outer. as all of you that have been on Ascension know that. Hello, Angela, sweetie. So many divine goddesses here. It's so amazing to see all of you. So again, they said, take the time in reflection to gain insights on the tribe environment and how you can ignite change and new depths of connection, or plan how and when and who you can offer this to. Because remember, you're going to see lots of potential in the tribes you're already in. Then there's going to be those that need to get out of their tribe, whatever tribe they've been in, they need to get out. Spirit's been showing you. Then there's going to be tribes where you might want to refer one or two of those people to meet with new tribes, right? So all of you are going to have, as they said to me, you're going to have a shaking up of your tribe. So expect that in 2024. You're going to have a shaking up of your tribe because you need to. You need to seek better, higher ways because you're going to be entering a new dimensional bandwidth, which means your soul's going to need those codes. If you're advancing, your soul needs codes. That's how you evolve. Everything is evolution. It's the biggest, it's why we're here in the multiverse, to evolve. So if your soul is not being nourished as a soul, if you're not having those to communicate and nurture and co-create and be back and forth with those higher vibrational codes, you're not testing each other in loving and kind and good co-creative ways, you have to have those interactions of that juice. You have to have that God juice. That's the nourishment. So that's why they said you're going to have that shaking up of tribe. You're going to have that shaking up of relationships, because they've been kind of showing me we've been kind of putting it on the back burner because there's so much resistance for change. So be okay to seek new ways. And they're saying, it doesn't have to sound so scary, right? You have to just look at change of relationships as a really positive, good thing. You want to seek new tribe. You want to learn new things for a year. Say, I'll meet you back here in a year, right? And go seek new tribes. Go seek new energies. Go seek new meanings. Go seek that experience where your soul wants to contract and expand into the new juice of God. The juice of God that you're going to seek, that God will guide you to. You have to have that nourishment. Otherwise, your soul won't grow. Like I said, my path was delayed for about 8 years. So I was missing. I mean, it's all purposeful. I get it. I'm accepting it all. But it's like now, it's like, no, I've got so much to do. I'm just getting started. I'm just starting to soar. Like, there's no stopping me. I'm going to be on every corner of this planet. Like I'm out there. No more. My wings are unfurled. No more clipping my wings. No more sacrifice. There's what did they say? We used to have them in elementary school. They used to be called lunchroom pass. You know, where you were given a pass to get into a certain room in elementary school. There's people you're going to hand those passes out, and there's people you're not going to hand those passes out. They don't get a pass. They have to go back and seek God within. There's going to be people that cannot come with you. There's going to be those that don't want to come with you. There's going to be those that just want to be with you just because you feed them. You nourish them, but do they nourish you? No, because they're just not at the same consciousness level. And why do you want to keep putting yourself in a sacrificial experience all the time? Just because they're getting fed, you're not. So how is that balanced? This is what the Adam Eve Project has been about for thousands of years. Again, your purposefulness. Divine Feminine are now stepping into, this is the biggest statement of 5D. Divine Feminine are now stepping into their divine, multiverse, heavenly purpose. It's a huge, 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 huge year for Divine Feminine. And we're going to bring so much peace and balance and that nourishment, God juice, because we're being prepared. God is preparing each and every one of us. There will be no other experience in 2024 that will offer for Divine Feminine than this coming year. We will be stepping into our profundity as purposefulness within the entire multiverse. I mean, that doesn't just mind boggle you. That's why every time I come on and offer these videos, there's no words that describe how big these things are. Divine Feminines that are making powerful, incredible. You have no idea the offering that a Divine Feminine offers when she comes forward and expresses her unconditional, undeniable truth and her soul story. The change that ripples throughout the entire creation and every single aspect that is waiting for you to offer that story. because there's vibrational aspects of you on another dimension or another thread or another earth that needs your soul's expression. If you're not expressing it and sharing it, it can't get that opening, right? When you offer that expression, your DNA gets activated, your multidimensional bodies get activated, your then children get activated, because when you've opened up that experience for you in your life story, you're opening that potential for your children. That's why you've contracted with them. There's going to be no greater year than this year for Divine Feminine. We've been preparing for this, girls, women, and goddesses. 5D is when we are going to place our mantles and our staffs into the beautiful grids and grounds of 5D Gaia, and we are bringing Gaia home. In 2020, by 2038, we will be 5D, and Divine Feminine is the momentum. How profound is that? And it's not in any way judgment to anything. God's designed it this way because it's been 2,000 years in subjugation. There needs to be rebalancing. The planet will not continue in the way that it is. That's why those of us that have the voices to speak of spirit, and God will place us where we need. God says, if God says speak, speak. You have no idea how profound this is and the ripples that goes through the multiverse. I know. So when God says share your story, I put on a video. There's reasons that we have no idea. It's like a domino, and it touches there, it touches there, it touches there, it touches there, especially when we're going through, profound portals like this weekend. So this weekend, I treasure all of you, and I've been teaching and helping and being a beautiful co-partner with all of you in this ride. I empower and I inspire all of you. Share and express yourself this weekend. Share and express yourself with purposefulness in loving and positive and powerful ways about what you see for 2024 for your soul's expression, exploration, and experience, and have no moment of underestimating how profound and utterly, undeniably changing and rippling it will be throughout the entire multiverse. That's how important you are. And I intend every time I come on is to state the importance of everybody that comes and goes and runs and shows and shares our videos. If you listen to it for a minute, the intention is on our videos. You are important and you are valuable. Seek God within and see what's going on, because it's incredible. Why would you ever want anything else, right? And it's okay if you don't. There's no judgment. That's part of the acceptance too. Everything is perfect in God's source, right? Don't resist anything. It's all God. And so this weekend, I really wanted to offer that great excitement for all of us that have been working, so very hard just to share ourselves. And Divine Feminine have had such a hard time to try and make any leeway. But it's you'll see, this will be, this is a prophetic word. 2024 is going to be profound, for Divine Feminine. And I mean that in the most, again, wow, elegant purposefulness. We're going to anchor a true Divine Feminine goddess. And again, even if you're in a man's body, go in and reflect what that means. Even if you're in a man's body and whatever, it doesn't matter about sexual preference, it doesn't have anything to do with anything. But you're going to be anchoring a brand new version of Divine Feminine in our Divine Feminine grids for the story of the Divine Feminine for 5D. It's profound. The Pleiadian shared this video of me. It's on my YouTube channel. It's really far back. I think it's about 2 years back. The profundity of this Adam Eve project. It affects the multiverse. Species, DNA, hybridization. That must come into balance for us to have a fully operating Merkaba so that we can travel interdimensionally, so that we can travel anywhere we want. And it is profoundly monumental to the children's DNA when we activate our own in this Adam Eve project, rewriting for Divine Feminine and Divine Masculine. I mean, there's no words. Human words can't tell you what I see as a conduit and as a prophet and as someone that's trying to bring these I mean, God things through, and it's like, are you sure, God? I mean, how do I put this into words? I mean, God gives me something to say, and it's just like, I'm going to say it in human words, but oh my God. Right? And that's how exciting it is, because there's so much for humanity. Every single person on this planet has a job to help rewrite everything. Psychiatry, psychology, everything is going to be rewritten, and everybody's going to play a part. Everybody plays a part. This is what's so amazing, that you never ever have to stay stuck in the elements of envy or jealousy. Everybody has a beautiful part to play in vibrating those little dominoes that just trigger something else for greatness, trigger something else for purposefulness. And so this is what they said: gain insights on the tribe that you want to seek. So again, what kind of tribe do you want to look for? What kind of tribe would nourish you? What kind of tribe would serve you in this next version of life cycle, if you want, from 2024? What do you want to see evolve through you? Because remember, you're a co-creator with God, a partner with God. What is your excitement with God? Because God always has things that will unroll for you. Make no mistake about it. Your teams are always activating you, guiding you, and always the first front doorkeepers, gatekeepers, if you will, for your healing. And again, why you have to release ego and heal those ego aspects, because your teams might say, that's not important for you right now. What's important is this emotional healing, because we need this emotional healing and within your body done so that we can move you into this, this, and this. So again, 4D is all about emotional healing, the 3D traumas and 3D karmas. So 4D is the emotional healing realm. And so just understand that you're a co-creator partnership with God. But what do you want to see for 2024 as the purposefulness, and what do you want to receive as nourishment from your tribe? Because when you start putting out, every time we do a video, thank you, Spirit, thank you, Holy Ashtar. When I'm doing these videos, these are pulsations going out to each and every one of you. And if you share these videos to others that might be so interested in ascending and acknowledging their enlightenment path, these pulsations go into the collective omni juice, right? The omni juice, the little dots of light that go out as pulsations. I'm excited to meet a tribe that does art all the time. I'm excited to be a tribe that is really conscious about health, and they want to live off grid, and they want to, grow their own food. Anytime you put out those heart pulsations, you're connecting with people that might be on the other side of the world that are also seeking those things. And then God and your guides and your teams can then start working together and dream weaving your reality together. This is why we always come with these videos, knowing that they have a greater expansive purpose, because we're activating you in the incitement, in the impassion, and the drive of you as a harmonizing soul now to start thinking and directing and focusing new energy to those timelines where you're going to start connecting and allowing those threads to be woven. Because again, we're in a higher conscious oscillating bandwidth. So again, your teams and your guides, I mean, it's nothing to them. When I say time, again, that's a 3D word. When you just say, wow, I would love to meet with I want this, I'm really excited to be on this land, I want to grow my own garden, and you put out those pulsations and you say them about 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 times a week, and it's really something exciting. You can't stop thinking about herbs, you can't stop thinking about herbal tonics and all those things. Herbal tonic. When you can't stop thinking about herbal tonics and you get all excited, that is those energetic pulsations that help manifest the reality. And in your guides and your teams and your higher self, all of the beings that are working with you and for you, it's no time for them to just put something in front of you, right? Because they don't work by time. It's like, okay, yeah, and next, right? And to us, it's like, wow, I mean, I've been talking about that for a year. And it's like, okay, there you go. So again, this is why we offer what we offer. Be specific. What does purposefulness mean for you physically, mentally, emotionally, sexually, relationship-wise, with God, who you are with God? What do you want to see in this 2024 cycle? How can you know, and it will be, whether you want to or not, your tribe will be shaken up, because it has to. There will be people that don't get that lunchroom pass, right? Because they do, and they don't want to. They don't want to rush through anything. Their souls have to take that time to sit and think about their choices and their energy and their vibration. Everything is quantum energy. What you're getting back is exactly vibrational reality. And why sometimes we have to go back and forth into timelines. If you're a crystal and you're a Christic healer, you have to go back and close things up on certain timelines. And you have to be that activator for some people that otherwise would have never got that Christic activation. So that's why Spirit sometimes will show you it. And again, as we said the other day, Spirit will also keep showing you that experience with that certain person until you actually turn around and see how much you have changed and how much you have grown. Because it's very, very, very important for your soul's growth, for you to acknowledge, accept, and allow how much you have done. When you think about the soul's growth, like on a spiral, it's like the rings of a tree. Like, you know how long it takes those rings of a tree? Like 300 years. We're clearing 51% of karma in one lifetime. It's profound. And that's why I've come out with the teachings that I have, because, you know, there is a process. It's a process. You can't, clearing karma is a huge thing. Because it's your soul's growth. Do you know how to handle your emotions? Can you continue to return to your heart as often as possible? Can you absolutely accept when you've been abused, and can you actually share your story and offer positive resolve, but also acknowledge that you were hurt? Can you tell people that they hurt you? Can you stand up for your soul? Can you stand up for your spirit? Can you teach the children to stand up for their spirit? Can you teach the children to reclaim their light and their consciousness and return to their heart and work with their chakras? These are huge things. That's why I get so excited, because these are huge, huge evolutionary things for humanity. And it does sometimes get me sad because, again, my channel has been shadow banned and I haven't had the return and the response. These are huge evolutionary things. And now that these corruptive communities are actually being seen and being pulled out and investigated, everything that I've been saying for 6 and 8 and 10 years are all starting to unfold and occur. They're now seeing that, yeah, there's actually some substance to what I've been teaching and offering. There's no way around it. Nobody will get by without facing their choices and their beliefs about themselves. It's not punishment, no. What do you believe to be true on why you would do spell work on somebody to get your own way for 10 years? Why would you do that? There's a lot of wounding there. A lot of self-rejection. No sense of self at all. And again, be discerning about energy work and those that do energy work and those that abuse the laws. Because you don't want to take on any of that karma. You don't want to be mixed up in that karma. Right? You got to face those choices. What will you sell out to? And those of us that have been the most tumultuously challenged, God wanted us to, because we're going to be the ones that should have been leaders a long time ago. Because the ones that are leaders and have been leaders don't care benevolently about the land or the people. And that's obvious. So there's reasons and purposes that we don't even know. So again, the more in partnership you are with God, you know, like I say to God, you know, why did we go through that for? You know, and God will let me come to it myself, because that's my soul's growth, you know, and I'll say, okay, I get it. They'll put an imprint in my field, or God will give me an imprint, or God will let me see something I need to see for me. But my marriage with God is everything. And my purposefulness for my relationships in the future is to have equal marriage with God in that next partner, that next future tribe. Equal partnership with God. That's what my purposefulness will be. That's what I'm seeking. Because I want to be a part of a tribe that really co-creates, right? I want that juice of that experiential co-creation. Yeah, I know that the omnipresent before me is God. I know the breath that I breathe into my body is God. I know the intention I breathe into that breath is God. I know the focus and the direction, the intention of that breath, and the omnipresence of that breath and the essence of that breath is God. See what I'm saying? That's the juice. I want to co-create with people like that. I want to co-create with more people like myself, right? And not be harmed so much. Because I respect God. I respect life. I respect the insects. I respect the trees. I respect all that is God. And that's my purposefulness. That's how my soul can be nourished, because I'm ready for, my time right now is to receive, because I've done eons of giving and people have denied me of receiving. And God is sick and tired of it. God's saying, all right, my daughter will receive. and so, yeah, that's why they said, you know, you have to have those expressive videos. I know you too, Claudio, you do. You're going to be receiving. You're going to receive. Intend that. 2024 is I'm going to receive this year. I'm going to receive mentally, I'm going to receive emotionally, I'm going to receive spiritually and sexually, so that it's an equal balance of my partnership with God. So set your intentions and use those vibrational Christed affirmations. Those are Christed affirmations that we offer, because they activate the codes and the DNA and the chakras and your cells and your skin and your hair. They activate your omni juice. The omni juice that's within a woman, for her to be the nourishing bedding for all of the healing that will be needed in 2024. Divine Feminine will truly step up and be, for the first time ever, and I state this as a powerful statement now of the Holy Christ, Divine Feminine will be anchoring in the most heavenly, divine goddess energies of humanity ever to ever have been seen. And the divine sisterhoods of the Rose, Divine Mother Mary, the sisterhoods of all realms, call upon the sisterhoods of the multiverse, of the highest benevolence, to work with you. I implore everyone to help heal the Divine Feminine, to bring the Divine Feminine to the highest nurturance. The more that we are nurturing and compassionate, as I just said to the earlier video, understand that there are those working within their DNA that have never been taught compassion, because they come from draconian or reptilian timelines, Orion timelines, the universes that we don't even know. So again, it just teaches you to be more compassionate, which is what my role is through my harsh life story, to also for me to take a step back and say, okay, God needed me to put my Christ code there. It wasn't fun, it wasn't nice, but I trust in God unconditionally, and I just keep surrendering to God. You know, God is why I'm here. You know, humanity's evolution is why I'm here. Rewriting Divine Feminine so that it's a balanced experience within God's divine heavenly plan is why I'm here. We should not be aligning ourselves, I shouldn't say that because I don't speak for everybody, to 3D biblical Adam Eve stories. And if you think that that's your alignment, and what, again, when you sit down, as we said in our last video, draw out Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine, and think about your Adam Eve project, what does that mean for you? And let those imprints come forward to heal it. I've had a lot of really heavy, dense imprints of Divine Feminine because I've been the one for the collective to heal it, for the collective. I'm not healing it for every Divine Feminine. I have to heal so much, and I agree, as contract is, to take on so much, because I also have to teach it. And I have to know how to heal it alchemically, because if I don't know how to alchemize, I can't teach anybody else to alchemize. So that's why I say sometimes when I watch videos online and they're just reverberating one-liners off of an oracle card, that's not knowing Ascension, that's not knowing alchemy. And sometimes it makes me frustrated because saying Ascension one-liners is not doing the work. Do you know how to alchemize? Do you know what a process is to alchemize your multiverse experience? I teach that, and that's why it's been so frustrating why my channel has been shadow banned. It absolutely goes in juxtaposition of our evolutionary. That's why God is now pulling everything up, and God saying, no, she's going to be seen. God will lift me, and God will put me in front of everybody. Because what I teach is absolutely evolutionary on every thread of our Earth experience, galaxy experience, multiverse experience, interdimensional experience. What I offer is profound. And I've been hidden for far too long. So share our videos. It's the human celestial thing to do. That sounded like a Galactic Federation commercial. Okay. So yeah, go to the depths of the connections that you wish, and the ones that you want your teams to start planning for you. Because remember, every time you set an intention, and with the work that we're doing right now is Ascension Pathwork. This is what I'm doing. I'm talking with you through an Ascension Pathwork. So get out your journals. When you start stating these things, with your teams, hallelujah, thank you for bringing that in. You're actually giving to your teams, you know, okay, teams, this is what kind of tribe I want to connect. This is what I want to do this year. I want to learn about herbal tonics, you know, and really connect with those that want to learn about herbal tonics, get healed by herbal tonics. I want to have a piece of land where I can go and work on it because it works with your multidimensional healing as well as Gaia, because you're going to be opening up your shamanic timelines where you were an herbalist, or you're going to be opening up your traditional timelines and bringing those stories forward from your lineage of your elders that want to bring those stories forward to you. So again, you're going to be opening up in this next 2024. It's going to encompass a lot of our reconnection and our remembrance, our weaving. That's what remembrance means, is to weave. Your remembrance with your ancestors and lineage elders. because we are going to be, again, 2024 is the remembrance weaving of divine feminine anchoring to create that momentum birth canal for Gaia. So it's going to be a momentous catalyst, huge. So again, when you're in your reflective observation time and you're writing with your journals, what is that intention you want your teams to work with you on, that you've been saying for a long time, but now you're going to start weaving it into reality? Because remember, the subconscious is now healed. Now you're in that consciousness where you're actually dreaming your reality into experience. That's what 2024 will be. The depths of connection will be important. Again, as I said, for those of you that are Christic, Carmen, and Claudel, you're Christic, and Angela. So you're Christic, which means you're going to need, and you're going to plan, and you're going to intend, and you're going to focus and direct onto nourishment juice for your soul's experience 2024. Right? You're going to need that nourishment so you can continue growing and offering and being that positive co-creator with God, because you're going to be needed to help others move through it. As I say, I'm a teacher for the teachers, because when you come to me, you can then take whatever you can and whatever you need to, whatever you will, and take it back to your clients, your healers, and then use whatever you can with your clients and healers. It's like the domino, right? You want to inspire everybody to tap into their Christic experience with their teams and their guides. So many of you have been holding on or negotiating with those that simply cannot get that pass, that lunchroom pass. They can't get the pass, but you've been holding on to them and negotiating things back and forth with them when you really shouldn't. You just so discern. What they're saying is discern now, between now and the end of the year, and really work with intention to slowly make steps to close out that and take those passes away. What have you been giving away and why and to whom? So it's going to be really important this next couple of 6 months, because you want 2024 to be as refined as possible to the nourishment that you're returning for the energy that you're giving out. So again, we're going to get more and more, as they said to me 2 years ago in our videos, we're going to be more and more commanding of the return and the correlation of our relationship with creation, because we now know that we're a multiverse being and we're having codes working with God in a higher vibrational relationship, co-creation. So we're going to be very specific about shaking out anything that needs to be shaken out and taking the passes back from those that you've been negotiating with that you shouldn't be. So there's just some relationship, there's no negotiation. This can't continue. It's unacceptable on every level. And they're going to have to be okay with how you say it. And sometimes it can be just a no. It's unacceptable on every level. And I'm not willing to give anyway. And then you go into your clearing ceremony and your closing ceremony, and you don't talk with the higher self of them, higher self of you, the karma board. You talk to God and your teams, and you do your clearing ceremony and cut off all cords and detachments and things like that. And you take away that free pass. That way, it's just a symbol. You're symbolically saying, I'm not holding anything of yours. You're not holding anything of mine. I reclaim my power, my energy, my light, and I send you on your way. And then let God, again, God will be, whether you want to or not. It's just, when I say what I say, that's how you respectfully work with spirit. Because you have to understand, you're a multiverse experience. You affect everybody as that domino effect. If you do what I just offered you in whatever way you want to, that you're inspired, you're showing the karma boards that you understand when you enter 5D. It is, you'll see, it's respect. If you show that utter respect, even if it's someone that's hurt you really, and you give gratitude and appreciation for something so horrible that was processed, that person had to play that part and they took that on. They did you that favor to play that part so that you can reach that deeper level of forgiveness. And you gave to them that Christic code of showing that forgiveness, of showing that unconditional offering of trying to level up when they needed it and they didn't, because their soul just couldn't transmute the density because they were so wounded. They didn't do enough work on the density. And when you level up to a new dimensional thread, you want to show everybody in that thread you just came from, okay, I'm going to close off with respect and generosity and appreciation here, 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 and here. I'm going to take the past from there, and I'm going to close off those physical, mental, emotional, sexual, experiential soul records, and I send it to Lord Michael. And I work with the karma board, and I say to the karma board, I surrender this record, I surrender this experience, I surrender this soul tie, this soul contract, I surrender it to source, to the karma boards. I've done the best that I very can. I've looked at it from this, this, and this, and this. I've learned so much. I'm very grateful for it. And you'll know because your teams have been waiting for you to kind of cut the cord and move on. And so you're just showing the respect of the karma board. She's actually getting it. This is how we work with in the higher realms. Because they want to know that they're going to give you an equal, higher vibrational soul that also works in the highest gratitude of soul work. Right? The Spirit's not going to give you somebody that disrespects souls. Right? So if you put out that respect of equal energy to, yes, the karma boards are operating 24/7. They never go home. They never check out. They don't sign their punch-out card. Karma boards are always working. Right? To them, it's their 24/7 job. It's what they do for source. It's their joy for source. Just like the Akashic board. The Akashic board are always protecting the Akash. They're always on top of. Make no mistake about this, and anybody that is taught, because I've run into those people that have said they can, tunnel into timelines and mess timelines up. There was a lot of timelines that did get screwed up in the Christ crucifixion. And they learned a lot from the crucifixion of the Christ, how times got so messed up. And we've done a lot of work to correct those timelines. And so there is in that error, of course, that's how we work as a multiverse. Everything's purposeful. The source and the divine heavenly councils and the systems of light and all of the beings that are responsible, the 12th dimensional creators, and all of those that are responsible for adhering and upholding balance within the universe, multiverse. That's why we have universal laws, because these laws are very ostentatious for the life, evolution of life. And life evolving in all galaxies and all life forms and all universes. That's why singular groups that continue to throw off the balance of an entire planet are not okay. This corruption has to be healed. It's hugely imbalancing the entire multiverse. And there's people like me that will come in and call it out because it's a huge thing. And so in that reworking of energy to help rebalance, it's all purposeful and it's all great, but the karma board and the Akashic board are pulling in they did. This is again, we're taking time, but it's all now. The Akashic board brought in groups of very highly refined specialist beings of the highest experiences to ensure that timelines in the Akash are protected in the highest forms. And there are various checkpoints so that those things don't get done because they don't have the right. So, a group of selfish underground Masonic people want to take one person's destiny. They don't have the right at a 3D level that aren't even connected with their higher selves. Their higher self wouldn't even have that conversation. Their guides and their ancestors are trying to tell them to stop. Stop doing what you're doing. But when you're in that ego and when you're wounded and all you care about is getting and taking, they'll conjure whatever they want to conjure to think that they're going to get somebody's timeline and somebody's right to their Akash. No, there is nothing more higher. Your free will is your story of your Akash. That is your birthright, period. It's like taking the blood and the DNA from somebody and switching the blood and the DNA to say, no, that's not you. I drained you of every ounce of blood and I gave you somebody else's blood and then I changed all your DNA. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just like cloning. No, you don't. Don't mess with God's plan. God will let you play for a little while. And then God will send people in like me to say, stop. It's not necessary in the damage and the destruction you're doing. It's not necessary. Go within and see God. And then you do it year after year after year after year. They're still hearing that Christic processing. They're still processing the same messages, still processing. But right now, as everything's being destructed and pulled out, they're now seeing everything I've said is now true. And sometimes people have to be destroyed, communities be destroyed, families being destroyed, homes being destroyed, health being destroyed, for them to finally wake up and say, yeah, there is a God. And sometimes that's what people need, unfortunately. They need to know that when they work with God, when they align with their own light, anything is possible. You don't need to steal or take or corrupt or sacrifice. There's wounding due to why people spell work, sacrifice, the underground trafficking rings. That's pure wounding. It's just wounding in action. And there's those of us that are brought forward to speak our truth, to share our life experiences so that others will also heal and do the processing and share their stories. Every time somebody shares their story, it's a domino for all creation. So that's what I'm imploring and inspiring and empowering all of you to do for 2024. Find a way where your soul's expression can be lifted to a higher co-creation with God, and know without any doubt, without any undeniability, your co-creative 3 E's with God is absolutely why you're here, and each and every one of you are needed. You're going to be profound anchors with your staff and your mantle of the Christ for new earth. Make no mistake about that. And you know it because you can feel it in your heart. You're getting excited. You're getting excited to really look at where 2023 and your life up to, like I just did today. I did I'm going to work on it for the next couple of days too, is I'm doing like a 3D review. All of my karma from 3D review. And I say karma is a way to process the lessons, right? It's processing the lessons. And so look at your 3D review. Where have you come so far and culminated the stories of your soul? That is, if I can offer you anything between now and the end of the year, do it focus on that all week. Like say, take one part of your 3D review and focus on it for the week and journal it. And do your journaling pages, book a weekend away somewhere before the end of the year if you can. Book a weekend away somewhere where you haven't been before so it shakes up your field and your energy. And just work on the 3D review for all of your life, 3D review, because again, you're timeline jumping. So you'll get that. They're saying that there's a couple of you that will feel that trigger and you'll get to harmonize that in so that you become more aware of your timeline jumping and when you're doing it, because it's really fun. That's what God gives you as a gift, right? Those Christed ones where you're doing a lot of work for the collective, for the grids, for the people that are being healed and so on. And so in those experiences, really look at your 3D reviews. Your 3D reviews help you culminize and harmonize and really heal those aspects of you where your voice and your words and your cells and your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, sexual experiences help harmonize you into this now moment. So then when you're looking at your purposefulness for 2024, you're going to be easier to see from the higher perspective of, again, the passes that you need to take back, the conversations that you need to have. And either way, just know I empower each and every one of you to do it on your own without having God do it. If you're showing, because your soul, that you're speaking on behalf of your soul, you're speaking on behalf of your Merkaba that absolutely needs to be respected and nourished. So if there's anybody in your circle that is not nourishing you or respecting you, you have to speak up and be the voice chakra. You have to speak spirit of what you're experiencing, how and why, and what you're going to do to change it. You have to take ownership and responsibility because, again, you're showing, especially you, Carmen, you're such a great role model. You're showing, and she's been such a great role model for her daughter and all the children. You're speaking your spirit is, they're showing me, changing the codes within the fields of those that you're co-creating with and that you are in your pod, especially those of your children. Because that's a contract within that is the threading and weaving that will never change. Even if the child has passed away, even if your parents have passed away, those threads always. If you have a parent that has passed away, you're still working within their soul's record. So just you sending positive, loving thoughts to your passed away parents, and you're sending light and honor to their DNA, you're sending light and honor to their experiences that were very tragic, you're helping them in their next lifetime where they come in. It never goes away just because they died, right? And just know that for children too. It's always an eternal connection. But God does want you to change your pod. You're going to be asked to change your pod, your tribe, because your sacred geometry. And that's what that pod is. That pod is that sacred geometry like this. Right there. See if your pod is connected to this part of your sacred geometry, and you've got 5 that are connected to you out here. You're going to have that sheath that comes down to activate a pod, like a group that's kind of closer to your heart chakra, instead of being way out on the limb, if you will, which is other universes, and it's a bit denser and it's really hard. So God will always, again, you're going to go through cycles. right? You're going to go through a time. Now this is my year to receive. It's going to be a lot lighter and a lot easier. I'm going to be a lot busier because, you know, God's going to ensure that my work is going to be seen and known so I can heal more people and I can get out with more people. And of course, I'm activating the Christ consciousness, and those that are Christ consciousness, like many on the line here, many of you are Christ consciousness. So you're going to need those codes activation so that you can go out into your pods, into your communities and activate through your Christhood. And that's how we access and uplift the collective vibration. So again, just to summarize today's call, we're going to be moving right now, as they're showing me. This end of the year is really powerful. Expect tribes to be shaken, because they have to. Your tribes will change because they just depends on the maturity of their soul, how much karma they've worked through, how much density they've worked through, and where their soul, their higher self and God, it's very sacred, so judge none. Where their soul wants them to detour so they can get the highest and the best for what their soul needs. Because again, remember I said, this is very important to keep in touch with, because there's a lot of people that speak, and I'm guilty of it at times when I get so angry and I get so frustrated with the pain that I've gone through and the loss that I've gone through. You don't know that, and I'm much more compassionate today because God showed me earlier. When God takes you to that denser experience, and you'll go through that over and over and over again, and you're continually offering light and you're offering those codes, you don't know that why you're doing that has to do with a timeline or a universe that your higher self or your 7th dimensional self or your 6th dimensional self or your 5th dimensional Arcturian is working on another universe that was needed. So just know that, and know that you don't need to know all the time, but be compassionate and be respectful with Spirit. As to why Spirit has you going somewhere when you said, no, I don't want to go. And Spirit says, but you got to go there. There's reasons. And so just know that if Spirit's asking you to go somewhere, then go there. Because that activation might be needed for a timeline that you haven't even stepped onto yet. That is absolutely necessary. So this is why I say, when you're knowing and working with your multidimensionality, you absolutely see the excitement, the elegance, and the incredibleness of how everything is profound. Happy birthday, James. Yay, happy birthday. 11/9. That's great. Still works out to 11. That's awesome. So yeah, just know that. So summarizing, your pod's going to be shaken. Your tribe's going to be shaken. Reflect and observe your 3D if you want to. It's all up to you. It's always free will. Because we're ending the end of the year, and 2024 is going to be a powerful year for Divine Feminine, Christic, Divine Feminine, to really come forward and really step into your incredibleness. Like your Divine Feminine's chakras, we're going to come to whole new levels of really incredible luscious juice that we're going to be softening in, and we're going to be soaking in. When I say juice, you'll absolutely feel like, this is why I just love working with God. I feel with God those little codes right there that God will offer me, and God just says, just soften, Joanna. Just slow and soften and silence, and that's that juice that God expands you. And then you just like, wow, I didn't, and you're just getting these downloads and you're being altered, the prefrontal cortex. I mean, that's why we're here. 2024, for all of us that have been on the path for a while, they're showing me right now, so they just wanted me to say that before we go. 2024 will be, for those that have been on the path for a while, your most profound year for recognizing all of the work that you've done as your evolutionary experience, as you being you as a soul. But you're going to have so much more fun because you have freed up so much density that you get to have fun in the space of your co-creativeness. It's going to be a huge year for us, again, as to manifest, but to feel ourselves in the very center just before that manifestation happens. And then we get to have fun as the manifestation happens. That's when you know you're reaching mastery. That's when you know you're reaching mastery, to say, wow, I'm sitting within this juice of God here. I'm just about to manifest something awesome. And here I go into realizing that this manifestation is coming forward. And then you get to work with Source in that moment of, again, as they said to me earlier, make sure that you're looking back to be appreciative and grateful, and really respecting all of the beings from all levels that are working with you to ensure that your source return to source experience is beautiful. That's what God wants. God wants you to know that you're beautiful. God wants you to know that you're loved. God always wants you to know that you're everything, every moment is needed and meant to be experienced. There's many people playing many roles in our collective to ensure that we receive the highest level of compassion, forgiveness, and unconditional love that each and every one of us deserves, that we've always been worthy of. And it's going to be a really profound year for us to feel more and more as a collective that we're unconditionally loved, and that God is truly, truly, truly holding each and every one of us. And that's what my life story is really the epitome of, because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for God loving me so very much. And every time that I just stop to just, oh, God loves me so much. And I think, throughout my day, I actually say that, oh, God loves me so much. I'm so grateful to God. And I just really stop to feel that peace and gratitude for how much God loves me. And that reverberation just goes out, and I just feel so grateful, because I wouldn't be here being able to be appreciative of that if it weren't for God. And the infinite, I mean, this is just how I see. I'm trying to express it into how profound this is. You see those little dots on here? You know, every little dot, and they're like star systems and celestial systems and codes, right? When that's my body and my Merkaba, and if God sees that I need something, the second that I need something, or the second that something needs to be activated or protected, all God does, because I'm just trying to give it to you as how I experience God. God and I are married as a mesh. And I feel God, I feel the Father, and I feel the Mother. They're different energies, and how I feel them and what they express to me and what we live through as stories is unique. And so I implore and empower all of you to really get close and comfortable with your relationship with Mother God and Father God, because they're unique and different. And so God, because God designs God designs the plans for evolution. That's God's divine, like the divine mind, right? Mother is the birther of those plans. And so that second that I feel something in my body, or I need something for, say, the health of my experience, because I did say there was 4 times that I passed and they brought me back. God knows within those 4 experiences, that second that something might happen here, this is my body, that something will be touched there. Because God is all, God sends out this pulse like this immediately. Boom, in that same second, what I have and what happened was needed. Like when God and Archangel Michael brought me back into my body. Because God is everything, God knows what's going to happen before it happens. There are those protections in place, just like there are the Akashic councils in place. God knows. The divine plan of God is always 10 steps ahead on all universes and all galaxies and all planets. That's why I said, when God takes you back to do something that you thought you've already done, there's a reason. You can ask, I always ask my teens, can you let me know why? And they just said it's not important for now, and they'll shut it down. You don't need to know. Because you don't know, you're not in that body yet of that activation that was needed in 2 timelines from now, or 2 lifetimes from now. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how profound this is. But when you're enmeshed in marriage with God, anything that I'm feeling that I need, that God knows, the heart of my God, because when you love yourself and God so much, God will do anything to make sure that whatever it is that will make your little sacred child happy, God will do everything possible to bring it for you, because you and God are married. You're creating that multiverse in that. You can feel every chakra, you can feel every cell. That is the meshing with God. That's manifesting. And God will bring it to you 100 times better. So that's why when anything happens to me, that's why I know my body will be rebuilt. My DNA, the PTSD that I still experience, and I stutter and stuff, they told me that will be completely healed. They told me that I will be completely healed from all of the traumas. And that's why I do my nighttime healing sessions with them, because I want to be a co-creator with that. I want to help as much as possible. Yeah. And that's you and God creating, though, Carmen. So just know that. This is what I mean. You guys are going to be so incredibly amazed in 2024. What we're talking about right now is how you manifest in 2024. You're going to see it. It's going to be physical manifestation. That's why I'm saying, and I'm imploring you, work with your bodies at night. Start a health session routine at night, and a routine that's soft and loving and partnership with God. And that's the juice. When I just offered you those expressions of how I can explain what I feel, that's that enmeshment, that's the marriage with God. And that's what being Christic is, because you're going to have to do a lot more than someone that is not operating in their Christhood. And again, it goes back to earlier, no judgment, because all of you know that when I say these things, you know that. Their just DNA is different. So we can't judge, right? Because everything is perfect. God is perfect. It is hard and harmful because you've been through so much trauma and you were killed 4 times, right? But it just allows you that higher perspective. Yeah. So what that was, Carmen, because I get that all the time too. So what that is it's more of your light body activating. That's what that is, Carmen. That's your light body activating and coming in as a sheath on your multidimensional bodies. That is a multidimensional activation of the light body. That's what that feels like. You're going to experience more of them. That's your light body being activated. That's what that feels like. Because that's part of your higher self coming down to your higher self, right? Kind of down like this, and it sheaths over your body. That sacred code, that sacred geometry puts a sheath because you've cleared some density and you've aligned with your higher self. You've said, okay, God, I claim my blessings. I claim my new path. And you're telling God that you're accepting God's new offering for you. And that's when your teams then bring down that sheath, and that is a light body activation. When you have those goosebumps for longer periods of time, those are your light bodies, and those sheaths helping you integrate density from the light body, right? Your light body is coming down, and those activations are actually bringing more crystalline onto the matter body. So your body is actually processing higher grades of light. It's actually like a code. It's like a little piece of clothing, and it comes over you as light, and it's integrating with the matter, and you're becoming more light. And that's why you'll find the next day, Carmen, if you like journal, you'll find the next day you'll be really tired, and you'll get I've got breakouts and stuff because I had a light body activation. All the densities and all the toxins stuff come out of your body. And then you, like I said, when I said earlier, go away for a couple of days so that you can set up your 2024. Right? Because you want to do as much as you can for, keeping your body in, yeah, I know you do, Carmen. You're really good at that. But just so that you know, you're going to be having more of those, Carmen. Right? That's why the ascension process is so amazing, because you get to say, well, wow, like I said to you the other day, I'm showing you and I'm telling you these things because this is the ascension process and how important it is. When you offer your story as important influence for others that are also going through the same thing, you're helping the collective heal, for one thing, and the pod that you exist within and that exists within you, the people that you've contracted with. That's what a pod is, because it's all sacred geometry. Your pod is the sacred geometry of the contracts that you have, because you have infinite pods that you're connected to. And that's how they showed it to me. And when you're offering those experiences, and then you have those couple of days to release and let go, and they're saying, wow, that was a 3D experience. I was claiming my 3D trauma. That was a lot of trauma, my 3D, because like my team said, talk about your life experience. What is it like being Joanna? Because most often when I come on, even when I'm talking to my friends, I'm a teacher. I'm just a born teacher. I always offer information and wisdom, always. That's just part of who I am. It really takes me a lot of effort to speak to anybody as my personal life experience, because I came as a prophet. Even when I was little, I used to talk like a teacher. People always used to say, you think you know so much. You think you're perfect. You think you're right. And I say, no, I'm just a teacher. I came to teach. Right? This is who I am. I'm a teacher. So I have to really change them when my teams say, talk about your life. I have to switch up the dialect, and I have to switch because people just expect me to be teacher because that's just who I am. But the personal life story of me is connecting with the one that is the sacred child. Yeah, no, I was molested and nobody heard me. Right? And then so when one of the people, I said in my video today, one of the people that passed on that was supposed to help me, when I said that to her, I told her that I'd been molested and she ignored it. And she knew that it caused me a lot of trauma because she was the only one that I could go to. She was like the epitome of divine feminine. I was going to feel protected by her, and I didn't. So she felt really bad. So Spirit showed me that, and I still, deeply love, and I've forgiven everybody. It's all forgiven. I've already worked through all that. But I'm showing you how the beautiful alchemy of souls in your pod are. When she passed over several years later, as I've worked through all of those traumas, Spirit showed me that she came to me specifically, and she's one of my bodyguards, because she could not be the bodyguard for me here on earth. And she felt really bad. And she just wanted to make sure that I knew that even though I wasn't the bodyguard for her when I was a child and I needed her, and she felt bad for the extra trauma that it had caused her not doing anything. That's what these conversations we have as Spirit, and they are just always living on the other side. So she's coming to me as one of my bodyguards now, right? And she's not going to let anybody hurt me. That's her promise, and she's like a Navajo warrior. She's got this huge staff, and she's got this long fur vest. She didn't wear that when she was here, of course. But that's her energy on the other side. She's like, no, nobody touches my girl. So I've got a lot of bodyguards now, because the people that didn't correct their karma with me on the earth plane, they're coming forward, and they're, like God said, I've got legions. So just know that. So and that's what God said, that, they told me years ago before I even knew what was going on. Because again, they don't tell you huge things because sometimes it would freak you out, and sometimes you wouldn't, complete the mission, right? And I know sometimes, and there's sometimes I don't want to know, how big things are, because I want to stay present in the moment, and I want to make sure that I'm honoring all spirit. But they said to me years ago, Jesus had said to me, even if the people you go against, if you will, I don't like to use those words, but that's what Jesus said. Even if you are in a situation where your word against those that have very deep pockets and they have the best lawyers, even if there's 20 of the best lawyers, you walk with God. You're walking with the legions. You walk with the heavens, you represent the heavens. They're nothing to what God is capable of. And then, of course, I cried thanking Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Because it's like I've carried that statement with me, because that's been why I get up every day. If I don't have the money and my channel is not being shared, and I'm still shadow banned, and I'm still doing the work, and I'm still getting abused, and I'm still getting stolen from and taken from, and I'm doing the closing off, and I'm doing all the right things. That's all God wants you to do, because there's a lot going on behind the scenes that nobody knows about, that God's got people working everywhere. That's why I said, when God sees anything that I need at the core of my being, God said enough is enough. My daughter will receive. This is her time, and I will lift her. Make no mistake, mountains will be moved, and countries will be moved, and things are like... right? Like God is working. God's just like a breath, and all of a sudden things change. That's why I'm giving you what I'm giving you. If you have a similar journey where you have to stand up and be the advocate of 1,000, 1,000,000 children, you walk with the heavens. There is no big company that has deep pockets that's more powerful than God. They can have the best lawyers, and they can have, like in my case, there was 50 people plus involved, and signatures and people involved in every level of the social systems. And that there was conversations constantly with God. Like, what the hell? It's just me. Nobody holding my hand in this journey but God. The only reason why I'm here is God. Legal cases or no legal cases, because it spans like many timelines, many jurisdictions. God's got it worked out. Work with God. Your alliance is with God. Yeah. Yeah, I talk about Epstein Island a lot. And I bring the awareness. I bring the awareness of, you know, what goes on that we've found acceptable, and it's no longer, this is what they were saying to me earlier. They were saying, you're going to look at things and you're going to say, that's not acceptable anymore. No. If it's not bringing you miracles and love and abundance, you don't want anything to do with it. Unless God asks you to speak as an advocate, because we do have to still heal those traumas that were created with all the corruption. And I will be an advocate for that. But don't worry about anybody that, and this is why I really give a lot of kudos to Whitney Webb. She's done so much to bring awareness of the corruption within the political genres and the elite genres. And she's really put herself out there, and the stuff that she's brought forward is just like unbelievable. And she's not paid by any elite, it's her private research. And she does papers, and she's gonna keep writing and keep doing, you know, she's gonna keep doing videos, because she knows how important it is not to fall into the systems of hurting humanity into taking away your voice and your choice. I've experienced those ones that did get their voices taken away. They're like robotic clones. So you'll see, coming up this year, you'll see the variations of DNA. So just pause before you react, and pause and process your emotions. And again, Spirit will tell you, Spirit will show you beforehand, is why we're coming up with this now. Your pod will be shaken, your tribe will be shaken, because certain people need to be filtered out so that their soul can go have the experience their soul really needs. It has nothing to do, we want to make sure that everybody states this with honor of every soul, and because it's all God. Every soul has their perfection with God. So if their soul needs to do a couple of years to reflect and do and create and go detour and go explore, their soul, that is the benevolence of their soul. So we can't judge. So again, taking it to a higher level, you're going to be entering 5D. Respect all souls' paths. And yes, it is absolutely hard sometimes when you're still being impaled with spell work. You know, and sometimes you do have to just be human and just swear once in a while. Yeah, it's a fucking tough ride. God understands. God understands. There's nobody that could have done it but you. Right? You have to say your human story, because people know you're genuine. People know you've been through it. Like, what the hell? Yeah, no, I've been through it. I know how to alchemize it. I can help you. And God's with you. Absolutely. Unequivocally, every breath, every inhale, every exhale, God's with you. Mesh with it. Mesh with God. And you'll see powerful changes. Mesh with God. Intend that. I mesh with God in every breath. I mesh with God. And seek the feeling of that, because 2024 will be feeling, multidimensional feeling. How does this feel? How does this sense? How do I hear this? How do I feel about this? How do I sense about this? What are the colors on this? What are the sounds of this? So it's a multidimensional expression. You're going to, again, that is the nourishment. Your soul has to be nourished in new ways, because you're going to be taking in new codes. You're going to be absorbing new codes. You're going to be integrating new codes. You're going to be processing new codes. And what is that? You're becoming a 5D interpersonal communication specialist. You're not going to communicate the same way in 5D as you do in 3D. So again, you have to have those nourishments. You can't be continuing to be around, aspects of the communities that don't want to explore telepathy or don't want to explore herbal healing. Of course, you're going to have some of those interactions, but you have to be nourished to be able to test your gifts and your skills in communication. Again, we're preparing you for first contact, to integrate first contact. It's going to be an integration, dear lighted ones. That's why, again, Commander Ashtar, my being here is a test. Are you able to integrate me? Can you accept me and integrate me into your reality? And many of you are waking up into your 5D multiverse celestial experience. And you're going to want to be having your pods integrate you as you them. Do you see what I'm saying? Each of you, as I know, because I see, each of you offer unique alien galactic, intergalactic codes. That's why you have the responses and the interactions that you do around certain people. Again, everybody's at a unique DNA activation. Everybody comes with unique DNA. Some consciousnesses are very, very new and young and immature. They have not had the years and the years and the years of consciousness of compassion. Some souls like myself have had 800 years in the Christ experience, learning about compassion, offering compassion. You see what I'm saying? So be okay to know that just because they're in a human body doesn't mean they've always been within this galaxy of understanding of what compassion is. There are some planets that don't operate, have had not, they do now, but way back billions of years ago in their process of evolution, they didn't practice compassion. They, as I said earlier, they just blew them up. So that's what we're healing, dear lighted ones. That's what I mean when we're in a multiverse experience. I'm showing you and I'm telling you in words. It's actually going on right now. Everything is now. Right? So be compassionate. Those that you're seeing on your planet are not necessarily, in the same consciousness vibration as you are. See them all as God. It's all God. Their soul's purpose is very, very purposeful. Even if somebody, I'll give you an example, even if somebody commits a crime, like in my experience, those that are understanding that they have committed crimes, even if some of them do go to jail, what they will learn from that experience is multifaceted and it's profound at a multi-galactic experience. Not only did it pull up a huge pod of corruption from a specific point of Gaia, it will send ripples to all other pods that are in corruption because it's the domino. For one thing. For two, those souls that were affected are going through profound awakenings as to who they are, because all of them are seeing without doubt that there is truly higher order and God. God is real. People have been brainwashed or chosen to entrain themselves to believe about what they were taught through dogmatic experiences. And as I've said in all of our videos, it's not about religion anymore. 5D, there won't be religion, it'll just be the acceptance of all. God is all things. As Jesus said, when you've got God with you, it doesn't matter how many lawyers any company that thinks however big they are has. That's why the whistleblowers will always be supported. They are a proprietor of the heavens. Whistleblowers like myself, conduits, prophets. We come, as I said earlier, what is your representation of the heavens? You're a business of the heavens. And we operate it with grace and great, 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 great reverence. And we have to practice that because there's very few people that understand reverence, true grace, true purposefulness. Those are the vibrations that I offer as the Christ. And I want each and every one of you, if you so desire, to go away and think about those this weekend. Get your 3D experiences, life review, make your ceremonies with the Karma board, with the Akashic board and Mother, Father, God in your teams, and give grace and thanks to Gaia, grace and thanks to all your teams you work with, and really set out for 2024, very, very loose but intentional, purposeful design for what you want to start dream weaving your 2024 to look like with God. Remember, everything is with God, your partnership with God, your health, your vibrational health, your sexual health, your multi-vibrational health. You're preparing for integration. You can't not think about this and put it in your divine design, because I'm telling you this right now because that's what they're telling me to say. Many of you will be those ones on the front line showing others the way. So you're going to be saying words that are similar. You're integrating your galacticness. And I was a test. Those that are just off 3D have never been experienced in multidimensional verbiage before, have no idea what Ascension is. They would come into one of these live sessions and not understand what's going on. Then there would be those that have already a high activation and they would be ready for integration because of their DNA opening, because they already came at a hybrid, high functioning person like myself. It's been very hard for me to be in 3D. And I've had a lot of dense stuff that I worked through on behalf of many different groups and many different councils and the collective, on behalf of Divine Feminine, on behalf of the children, on behalf of so much. So I'm a voice for much, and I'm very proud and honored to walk in my body and my skin. I exalt myself now. 2024, get used to exalting yourself. You're meant to exalt yourself as God, as the machine of God, the importance of God, the oneness with God. That is our lesson here, is to exalt in who you are. The experience, exploration, and expression of who you are, to exalt in it. I exalt in my expression. I exalt in the experience of who I am as God. I exalt into the exploration of who I am with God. If I don't explore, I'm not going to know what's going to nourish me. Right? If you don't know that having an herb garden would nourish you because you get to have these wonderful, wonderful tonics that activate and clear your pineal, right? There's a lot of kombucha drinks that help you clear your pineal, by the way. So tune in and just ask your teams which kombucha. There's one that I get. It's called the Tofino kombucha. It's really, really good. It's one of my favorite kombuchas. They're about $3.50 a can, though. They're not cheap. Sometimes you can get them on two for $6. And so I always watch for them to go on sale. I just love them. But they do help clear your pineal. So just ask your teams which kombucha, tonic is going to be good for you. And there's lots of great kombucha drinks now. So just ask your teams which one you need, because your body's going to change and shift. As I said, Carmen earlier, when she has a light body activation, her body's going to need something different, because her body's going to be processing a lot of light. And she'll find that the next day she's going to be tired. So make sure you take that day to get rest and feed your body and do like a salt bath cleansing. Yeah. Yeah. So just do that. I would suggest before, if you can, take a couple of days before the end of the year and just take yourself to somewhere different so that you can activate yourself in new fields and new energy and new land. And then do your 3D review. And then for 2024, do a review on purposefulness. What does that mean for you? Specifically with relationship, because again, you're going to be connecting with a deeper level of God. Every year, you're enmeshing in a deeper level of your Godness. How exciting. Yay! Yay! Okay, so dear lighted ones, I love you so very much. That is the channel from the teams and from the federations. Please give thanks and appreciation to all of the federations. They have, I feel anyways, and they don't want this recognition, but I know that I do. They, from my perspective, we've given very little credit to our celestial teams and our celestial guides and councils. They have helped stave off many, many things that arrogant humans have created as a part of God's divine plan. So pray every day for the oneness of humanity coming into peace, and that includes the galactic federations that are with us and supporting our planet in so much transition. And just pray for peace, that the leaders of our planet will come into greater peace. And all of our celestial families, all of our intergalactic families, all of our alien families that are all seeing us through this, they all need equal gratitude and thanks. And call them into your dreams and your space so that you can help move along your integration. Okay, because we're moving into a 4D integration deeper and deeper. So we love you, dear lighted ones. We hope this has been of great service to you. Thank you so very much. Our PayPal link will be in all of our videos, so we thank you, anybody that has a donation. And I will be traveling a lot this year, so hopefully I'll see you out in these live events for healing and activation of Christ consciousness in 5D. Yay! Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye!